तस्वीरें, और ये तो बस टिप ऑफ द आइसबर्ग है। ये लगातार चलता आ रहा है, एक श्रृंखला चली आ रही है जो जेएनयू कैंपस पे, चूंकि इनके ऊपर कार्रवाई नहीं होती है कोई। इस बार पहली बार ये है कि प्रशासन ने इसको संज्ञान लिया है। हालांकि हम लगातार प्रशासन से कम्युनिकेट करते हैं, कंप्लेंट्स देते हैं, सब चीज देते हैं, पर कुछ एक्शन नहीं होने के कारण इनका मन बढ़ता जा रहा है। जी।
लेकिन रोहित, मेरे दो सवाल हैं। अगर ये लोग आइडेंटिफाइड हैं तो सबसे पहले ये मुझे बताइए कि इनके खिलाफ अभी तक कार्रवाई क्यों नहीं की गई है? क्या आपको लगता है कि प्रशासन इस तरह की कोई कार्रवाई करने से फिलहाल थोड़ा सा डरता है, वो नहीं चाहता कि ये पूरा विवाद बढ़े? और दूसरी बात ये कि किस तरह बार बार जवाहरलाल नेहरू यूनिवर्सिटी से एक कंट्रोवर्सी के बाद एक और कंट्रोवर्सी सामने आती है, ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है?
जी बिल्कुल, एक ही टाइप के लोग हैं, जो कम्युनिस्ट कबाल है, जो इनका एक गैंग है, जो माओवादियों का गैंग, यही यूनिवर्सिटी स्पेस को एकेडमिक के लिए यूज नहीं करके अपने पॉलिटिकल लॉन्चिंग के लिए लॉन्च पैड की तरह यूज करते हैं। यूनिवर्सिटी के यंग ब्रेन्स को ब्रेन वॉश करना है, उनके समाज और छात्र समुदाय के अंदर जहर डालने का काम करने के लिए यूनिवर्सिटी स्पेस को यूज कर रहे हैं। और जहां तक कार्रवाई होने की बात है, ये बात तो सिर्फ अभी मीडिया में गई है। इसके 3 साल पहले दिल्ली हाईकोर्ट का, माननीय उच्च न्यायालय का ऑर्डर आ चुका है कि जेएनयू में आप वैंडलिज्म नहीं करेंगे, ऐसी चीजों को बढ़ावा नहीं देंगे। फिर भी अगर ऐसी चीजें हो रही है और प्रशासन कार्रवाई नहीं कर रहा है, इतना तो कर सकते थे, आपकी व्हाइट वॉश करा सकते थे, इतना तो कर सकते थे कि आप सीसीटीवी फुटेज से निकाल करके, या इंक्वायरी कमेटी अभी तक रिपोर्ट दे सकती थी। सिक्योरिटी के तमाम अपैरेटस है, सिर्फ इसका कॉग्निजेंस लेना, ये तो कोई बात नहीं है। ये तो मन बढ़ता जा रहा है ना किसी को। आपको तो ऐसा बात नहीं है कि मतलब आप जो कल्प्रिट्स को पकड़ना चाहे तो नहीं पकड़ सकते हैं, पर चूंकि बार बार ऐसी चीजें को इग्नोर कर रहा है प्रशासन, इसलिए ऐसे लोगों का मन बढ़ता जा रहा है। चाहे स्कूल ऑफ सोशल साइंसेज की बिल्डिंग हो, चाहे ब्राह्मण के खिलाफ लिखने की बात हो, चाहे बनियों को भगाने की बात हो, ऐसी टेंडेंसीज को हवा देने में इसी कारण से बार बार कंप्लेंट करने के बाद भी अगर एक्शन नहीं हो रहा है, तो एबीवीपी का तो क्लियर मानना है कि विश्वविद्यालय प्रशासन ही इनको शह दे रहा है, इनको एक तरीके से बैक सपोर्ट दे रहा है।
रोहित, आप बहुत सारे चार्जेस यहाँ पर लेवल कर रहे हैं एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन के खिलाफ, लेकिन मैं आपके पास दोबारा, उससे पहले सिद्धांत के पास चलते हैं। सिद्धांत, ये आरोप क्यों लग रहा है कि एबीवीपी इस पूरे मसले को पॉलिटिकल कर रही है? एक मसला जो एक कैंपस से लिमिटेड है, क्या आप उसे पॉलिटिकल कर रहे हैं?
जी नहीं, बिल्कुल। ये देखिए, लेफ्ट बेबुनियाद आरोप लगा रहा है। अब जबकि ये बात बिल्कुल खुल करके आम स्टूडेंट्स के बीच बहुत तेजी से फैल रही है कि लेफ्ट वर्षों से जिस डिविजिव पॉलिटिक्स का इस्तेमाल इस कैंपस में करता रहा, एक बार फिर से लेफ्ट ने अपने डिविजिव पॉलिटिक्स का इस्तेमाल इस कैंपस में किया है। ये बात सर्वविदित है पूरे कैंपस में। तो अब जबकि लेफ्ट विचलित हो रहा, अब जबकि लेफ्ट ये देख रहा है कि विद्यार्थी परिषद और संघ की विचारधारा, जो सामाजिक समरसता की विचारधारा है, उसकी स्वीकार्यता, उसकी लोकप्रियता यहाँ के विद्यार्थियों में बढ़ रही है, तो लेफ्ट इससे विचलित होकर के आरोप प्रत्यारोप की राजनीति कर रहा है। मुझे लगता है कि प्रशासन को तत्काल जो भी लोग इसमें संलिप्त हैं उनको आइडेंटिफाई करके, जैसा कि रोहित जी ने कहा, कठोर से कठोर कार्रवाई, जिसको अभी प्रशासन करता दिख नहीं रहा है, और सिर्फ आरोप प्रत्यारोप की राजनीति लेफ्ट कर रहा है। इसके अतिरिक्त लेफ्ट के पास अब और कोई
30 सेकंड है मेरे पास। मुझे ये बताइए कि प्रशासन क्यों कार्रवाई नहीं कर रहा? क्योंकि कैंपस में इस तरह के कास्ट स्लोगन्स का लिखा जाना ये ऑब्वियसली अनएक्सेप्टेबल है, तो क्यों प्रशासन कार्रवाई नहीं कर रहा? सिद्धांत,
बिल्कुल, ये आश्चर्य का विषय हम लोगों के लिए भी है, क्योंकि वाइस चांसलर ने भी, अगर हमको याद होगा तो कुछ महीनों पूर्व ये कहा भी था कि यहाँ हमें एक बात जान लेने की जरूरत है कि इस तरह की किसी एक्टिविटीज का सीरियस कंसिक्वेंसेज होंगे, लेकिन ऐसा कुछ उनके एक्शंस में नहीं दिख रहा है। तो आदरणीय वाइस चांसलर जी और प्रशासन से हमारा अनुरोध है कि क्यों वो मौन है? क्या वो मौन रह करके एक मौन समर्थन ऐसे कुकृत्यों को दे रहा है? ये प्रशासन को बिल्कुल स्पष्ट करना चाहिए और कठोर से कठोर कार्रवाई करनी चाहिए।
ठीक है, रोहित एंड सिद्धांत, आप दोनों ने हमसे बात की, उसके लिए बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। वी विल कीप अ चेक ऑन दिस, व्हाट हैपेंस, इज देयर एक्शन और नॉट एक्शन, बट फॉर द मोमेंट I thank you both for speaking to us and helping us understand the real context behind that story. Let's shift our focus now to our next breaking update. We are getting a big lead in the 200 crore money laundering case. What we are learning, in fact, is that the Enforcement Directorate has made a big charge. They have claimed that during the investigation of the case, they've come across WhatsApp communication between Nora and Sukesh Chandrashekhar. The ED right now is, remember, questioning Nora for further clarification regarding her association with Sukesh. Sources have also indicated that Nora so far remains a witness in the case, but if the ED does get evidence, she will be made an accused in the case. Now, what the agencies also underscore here is that the ED claims that Nora has received a BMW car and an iPhone. This is through Sukesh's wife in exchange of attending an event. It was given to Nora using the extorted money. She is allegedly right now a beneficiary of the proceeds of crime. Piyush is tracking that story and he joins us live right now from outside the ED office. So, Piyush, whoever said that it's just about Jacqueline and Sukesh, they were obviously wrong, because it seems that there possibly could be more people, there could be more names that will begin to tumble out. What do we know about Nora so far? The fact that she is just a witness right now, but what about her statements? What has she said so far?
So you rightly mentioned, Dipti, that whoever felt that it was all about Sukesh and Jacqueline only may be proved wrong because of the interrogation which is right now being done of Nora Fatehi, another Bollywood starlet, which may become an accused in this case after this questioning ends. So we do not know about it. As of now, what we do know is that Nora Fatehi is the witness in this case. But as I said again, that there have been some very startling revelations that have come to fore. There have been revelations which has come in which it has been indicated that Sukesh Chandrashekhar was in touch with Nora Fatehi through WhatsApp chats. It has been indicated that Nora Fatehi did attend an event in Chennai which was organized from the proceeds of crime by Sukesh Chandrashekhar, and it has also been indicated that Nora Fatehi was also a beneficiary of the expensive gifts generated from the proceeds of crime from Sukesh Chandrashekhar 200 crore money laundering case. So yes, as of now, it is only Jacqueline Fernandez which has been facing the heat, but who knows that after this, maybe Nora Fatehi may also face the heat. Now, I would just like to end by saying that it is not only the Enforcement Directorate, but also the Delhi Police Economic Offences Wing, which is investigating this matter. And they have grilled Nora Fatehi also in the past. Just few days back, they had arrested Pinky, an associate of conman Sukesh Chandrashekhar. So again, as you rightly said, that right now, since the focus is mostly on Jacqueline Fernandez, who knows that following this questioning, the heat on Nora Fatehi may increase. Back to you in the studio.
Okay. Piyush, why don't you stay with me? Let's also quickly get in our colleague Shravan, who also joins us on the phone line. Shravan, what more can you add? What are you learning from your sources in the Enforcement Directorate? Could there be more names that might just now begin to tumble out? And what's the specific role of Nora in the entire case?
Well, in fact, Deepthi, there is a slight twist in the entire investigation, because unlike what has happened in the case of Jacqueline Fernandez, who's been named as an accused in the charge sheet that was filed by the Enforcement Directorate, in this particular case, Nora Fatehi has essentially been seen as a witness. And that is exactly something that has been raised by the legal counsel of Jacqueline Fernandez as to why exactly she's being seen as a witness in this entire matter. Having said that, as far as the Enforcement Directorate is concerned, they are saying that in the course of the investigation, they have essentially come across certain WhatsApp conversations between Sukesh Chandrashekhar and Nora Fatehi, which needs to be examined, and that is exactly why she has now been called in for questioning. As we speak, more details basically coming up right now, that they are saying that while in the first charge sheet, Nora Fatehi was largely regarded as a witness in this particular case, but if at all, after the examination that is essentially done today and later, if at all there is certain evidence suggesting that she rather is someone who is a beneficiary of the proceeds of crime, then there is a high possibility that she too could be made an accused in this case, but that decision would be taken at a later stage.
All right, Shravan, and we do know that possibly some gifts that she has received from the conman are also under the radar, and that's the reason why the agency wants to understand what really was her role, how extensive was that, does she only remain a witness or an accused in the case. As always, Republic will be on top of that story. I thank both Piyush and Shravan for getting us those details.
The AIADMK party, the leading opposition party in the state, is conducting a hunger fast in the district of Coimbatore. The party's new interim general secretary, Edappadi K. Palaniswamy, who is also the opposition leader, is leading this hunger fast in Coimbatore, which is entirely against the ruling DMK government. And this hunger fast demonstration is mainly against the recent price hike of milk in the state, as well as the hike in the EB tariffs, the improper road facilities in Coimbatore district, as well as all the development projects that are currently under a pause in the district of Coimbatore. The other leaders of the AIADMK party, including MLA from the Coimbatore district, SP Velumani, and other important leaders are also taking part in this hunger fast that is being conducted today, which is a demonstration to oppose, go against all the improper decisions and improper projects that are not being continued in the district of Coimbatore. This is Vashni Ramu along with camera person Dilip for Republic TV.
We are into a break right now. When we come back, it's been almost a fortnight after the assault on the restaurant staff in Bengaluru, but the man that you see on your screen is a BJP Neta's son. He is still absconding. Also, Sidhu Moosewala murder probe now widens. The gangster Goldie Brar now has been detained in the US. The full story when we come back after this quick break.
These are the Kashmiri Pandits. They are staging protests because they are feeling the similar kind of situation what they faced in 90s in the Kashmir. And they are saying one thing that is very clear, that those who are trying to portray that the Kashmir Files movie was a propaganda, they are trying to just portray and give a clean sheet to those who have been culprits of the genocide of the Kashmiri Pandits.
Where 6 people have been reported dead and 15 injured in a collision between a road-based bus and a truck in Tapesipa in Bahraich. Former Food and Civil Supplies and Consumer Affairs Minister Bharat Bhushan Anshu arrested by the Punjab Vigilance Bureau in connection with the 2,000 crore food grain transportation scam.
Dibrugarh University on the ragging case there, which has caused serious concern and which has escalated. Dibrugarh police have arrested another student.
A high-voltage battle which will decide the nation's political trajectory. Who will break their records and which faces will be the winners?
89 out of the 182 seats go to polls. Stay tuned to India's election news headquarters
As Gujarat goes to polls, live coverage minute by minute
all day today on Republic.
Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai, as we'd been reporting earlier, is set to visit Belgavi on the 2nd of December. Bommai will visit the bordering village of Belgavi.
The Delhi Liquor Gate. Now, the Enforcement Directorate has now arrested Amit Arora. Now, remember, it's the 6th arrest in the case.
The joint operation for the BSF as well as the Punjab Police, as they have recovered 5 AK rifles, 5 pistols and 9 magazines that have been recovered from the Firozpur area.
The report exposes how Robert Vadra and Huda's family conspired together in a multi-crore scam.
Mr. Malia, why the question is bothering you when I'm not getting a single answer? The entire disputed land will be handed over to the Hindu parties to make a Ram temple.
The mental torture of Jadhav that is consistently happening.
Welcome back. You're with us here on Republic. In fact, we do come across a lot of interesting videos, and the one that you actually see behind me here on the screens and also what you will watch next is spectacular. Because this, remember, is the Hawaii Island and it has the largest volcanoes, and just look at the kind of molten eruption that you see behind me, and the agencies say that they can absolutely do nothing to
સમગ્ર દેશને સુરક્ષિત કરવા માટે મત આપવાનો સમય છે. એનું કારણ છે કે અત્યારે દેશના વડાપ્રધાન ગુજરાતના જ પનોતા પુત્ર અને આપણા પ્રિય નેતા નરેન્દ્રભાઈ છે મિત્રો. અને નરેન્દ્રભાઈને દેશની જનતાએ વડાપ્રધાન તરીકે ચૂંટ્યાનું મૂળ કારણ નરેન્દ્રભાઈએ અહીંયા 14 વર્ષ જે સુંદર રાજ કર્યો, શાંતિ સલામતી સ્થાપી, વિકાસ લાયા અને અનેકવિધ પ્રોગ્રામો કર્યા, એ જોઈ દેશની જનતાએ ગુજરાતના એ વખતના મુખ્યમંત્રી નરેન્દ્રભાઈને વડાપ્રધાન બનાવ્યા છે મિત્રો. હવે ભાઈ નરેન્દ્રભાઈ વડાપ્રધાન હોય અને ગુજરાતમાં કશું કાચું કપાય આપણાથી? કહો, સાચું કહેજો વિજાપુર વાળા, કશું કાચું કપાય? કશી કસર ના રહી જાય. હજી બે
मेरी नजरों से चुना, तेरी हरकतों से सुना,
वो सपना जो बुना तुझे लगा गुनगुना,
कभी जीती तू कभी मैं हारा, फिर भी खूबसूरत है ये नजारा, क्योंकि इसमें है खुला
कुछ मेरा कुछ तुम्हारा.
इसलिए ग्रीन लैम लैमिनेट्स, सपने आपके लैमिनेट्स हमारा. अमेजिंग स्पेसेस के लिए कुछ मेरा कुछ तुम्हारा.
Bajrang Dal staging protests over the comment made by the Israeli filmmaker and anger that is growing across the nation over the insult to Kashmiri pundits.
Bilkis Bano has now moved the Supreme Court over the release of 11 convicts was challenged in the Supreme Court. Bilkis demanded to send everyone back to jail.
From Dibrugarh University, case of ragging had shocked the entire country.
As Gujarat goes to polls on the 1st of December, 89 of 182 seats will vote.
Where high voltage political battle has broken out in the state of Gujarat since the bipolarity of the state.
Will the BJP score a record victory in Gujarat? Is the AIADMK party even a factor?
Politics has been challenged for the first time. Watch the fastest updates only on India's election headquarters
on Republic TV.
These are the Kashmiri Pandits. They are staging protests because they are feeling the similar kind of situation what they faced in 90s in the Kashmir. And they are saying one thing that is very clear, that those who are trying to portray that the Kashmir Files movie was a propaganda, they are trying to just portray and give a clean sheet to those who have been culprits of the genocide of the Kashmiri Pandits.
Where 6 people have been reported dead and 15 injured in a collision between a road-based bus and a truck in Tapesipa in Bihar. Former Food and Civil Supplies and Consumer Affairs Minister Bharat Bhushan Anshu arrested by the Punjab Vigilance Bureau in connection with the 2,000 crore food grain transportation scam.
Dibrugarh University on the ragging case there, which has caused serious concern and which has escalated. Dibrugarh police have arrested another student.
A high voltage battle.
ગુજરાતનો નકશો ખેંચવાનું કામ કર્યું છે. ગુજરાતના વિકાસના નકશાને ભારતીય જનતા પાર્ટીના કાર્યકર્તાએ ખંડથી બનાવ્યો છે. ગુજરાતના વિકાસના નકશાને નરેન્દ્ર મોદીએ પોતાના પરસેવાથી ઘાટો કરવાનું કામ કર્યું છે. મિત્રો, ઘાટો કરવાનું કામ. આ ગુજરાતની અંદર અને વિશેષ કરી આપણા ઉત્તર ગુજરાતમાં, સૌરાષ્ટ્રમાં, કચ્છમાં પાણીની અછત,
Chief Minister Baswaraj Bommai, as we'd been reporting earlier, is set to visit Belgavi on the 2nd of December. Bommai will visit the bordering village of Belgavi.
The Delhi Liquor Gate. Now, the Enforcement Directorate has now arrested Amit Arora. Now, remember, it's the 6th arrest in the case.
The joint operation for the BSF as well as the Punjab Police, as they have recovered 5 AK rifles, 5 pistols and 9 magazines that have been recovered from the Firozpur area.
The report exposes how Robert Vadra and Huda's family conspired together in a multi-crore scam. Mr. Malia, why are the questions bothering you when I'm not getting a single answer? The entire disputed land will be handed over to the Hindu parties to make a Ram temple.
The mental torture of Jadhav that is consistently happening there, it's a very clear indication about how these confessions are actually doctored and taken.
Delhi High Court has said the riots in 2020 evidently did not happen in the spur of the moment.
We see a split verdict in the Supreme Court. The one thing that needs to be understood is what is going to happen ahead.
સમિતિ બની ગઈ, પર્યાવરણની સમિતિ બની ગઈ, પણ આ લોકો ઊંચાઈ વધારવાની મંજૂરી નતા આપતા. નરેન્દ્રભાઈ ઉપવાસ પર ઉતર્યા અમદાવાદમાં અને 4 દાડામાં મનમોહન સરકારને ઘૂંટના ટેકાઈ નરેન્દ્રભાઈએ નર્મદા યોજનાને લીલી ઝંડી અપાઈ. મિત્રો, લીલી ઝંડી અપાવવાનું કામ કર્યું. 2014માં ભાઈ 2014માં વડાપ્રધાન બન્યા. 14મા દિવસે નર્મદા યોજનાના દરવાજા લગાવવાનો ઓર્ડર કર્યો અને નર્મદા યોજના પૂરી થઈ ગઈ.
These are the Kashmiri Pandits. They are staging protests because they are feeling the similar kind of situation what they faced in 90s in the Kashmir. And they are saying one thing that is very clear, that those who are trying to portray that the Kashmir Files movie was a propaganda, they are trying to just portray and give a clean sheet to those who have been culprits of the genocide of the Kashmiri Pandits.
Where 6 people have been reported dead and 15 injured in a collision between a road-based bus and a truck in Tapesipa in Bihar. Former Food and Civil Supplies and Consumer Affairs Minister Bharat Bhushan Anshu arrested by the Punjab Vigilance Bureau in connection with the 2,000 crore food grain transportation scam.
Dibrugarh University on the ragging case there, which has caused serious concern and which has escalated. Dibrugarh police have arrested another student.
A high voltage battle which will decide the nation's political trajectory. Who will break their records and which faces will be the winners?
89 out of the 182 seats go to polls. Stay tuned to India's election news headquarters
as Gujarat goes to polls. Live coverage minute by minute
all day today on Republic.
Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai, as we'd been reporting earlier, is set to visit Belgavi on the 2nd of December. Bommai will visit the bordering village of Belgavi.
The Delhi Liquorgate. Now, the Enforcement Directorate has now arrested Amit Arora. Now, remember, it's the 6th arrest in the case.
The joint operation for the BSF as well as the Punjab Police, as they have recovered 5 AK rifles, 5 pistols and 9 magazines that have been recovered from the Firozpur area.
The report exposes how Robert Vadra and Huda's family conspired together in a multi-crore scam. Mr. Malia, why are the questions bothering you when I'm not getting a single answer? Good evening, welcome to Republic TV. I'm Ridhimanan Bhardwaj. Viewers, our top focus is going to be on the massive controversy that has erupted on the JNU walls that have been defaced with anti-Hindu hate slogans. We ask who is trying to spread this communal and communist casteist hate. First up, a look at our top headlines. Massive controversy as JNU walls are defaced with anti-Hindu hate slogans.
कौन लोग हैं जो जानते हैं कि वो ये दुस्साहस करेंगे और दंडित नहीं होंगे.
Union Minister Smriti Irani hits out, says we know who is pushing the hate narrative. Anger among Sikh community. 1984 riots accused as Congress star campaigner for MCD elections. Almost a fortnight after assault on restaurant staff in Bengaluru, BJP's Neta's son is still absconding. Sidhu Moosewala murder probe Biden's gangster Goldie Broad detained in the US. Will he be extradited next? And Javid Shergill is made BJP national spokesperson. Captain Amrinder Sunil Jhakar made part of the BJP national executive. And first up, the controversy that we are looking at, AIUDF chief Badruddin Ajmal has sparked controversy, saying Hindus must learn from Muslims the population control formula. He's added Hindus have affairs, Muslims get married early, Hindus must follow this. The comments have now sparked a massive row. BJP MLA Diganta Kalita has now hit back, saying Hindus don't need to take lessons from Muslims.
आज बदरुद्दीन अजमल साहब ने बड़ी बात बोला है कि हिंदू लड़की 40 इयर्स तक शादी नहीं करता है और बहुत ही इलीगल काम में जुड़ा रहता है। मैं बदरुद्दीन अजमल साहब को स्पष्ट रूप से बोलता हूँ, आप एक मुस्लिम आदमी हैं और हम लोग हिंदू हैं। हम लोग आपसे सीखना पड़ेगा। जहाँ में भगवान राम जी का जन्म हुआ था, जहाँ में माँ सीता का यहाँ जन्म हुआ था, ये राम और सीता का देश है। ये बांग्लादेश में बांग्लादेशी आदमियों को यहाँ कोई स्थान नहीं है। हम मुस्लिम से कभी भी ये शिक्षा नहीं लेना है। ये आप बहुत ही गलत बात बोल रहे हैं और अपनी माँ और बहन आपका भी है। इसका मतलब आप ये आरोप अपनी माँ और बहन का ऊपर लगा रहा है और आपको कड़ी से कड़ी निंदा करता हूँ, आपको वार्निंग भी करता हूँ, ऐसा बयान मत रखिए। अगर ऐसा बयान रखना है इन फ्यूचर, आप बांग्लादेश जाइए, वहाँ पे बयान रखिए। और हम लोग एक सनातनी हिंदू धर्म होने का नाते हम लोग एक कभी भी इसको एक्सेप्ट नहीं करता हूँ, बल्कि हमारा जो माँ लोग है, हमारा जो बेटी लोग है, वो अपना भाषा और संस्कृति पूरा अपना संस्कृति बसा के चलता है। आप लोग को शादी होता है 3-3, हमारा शादी 3-3 नहीं होता है, हमारा एक ही शादी होता है। और ये शादी तोड़ने के लिए हमारा बहुत ही स्ट्रांग हमारा यहाँ लॉ है। आप लोग का क्या है? आप लोग आज तलाक बोल दिया, तलाक हो गया। आप जहाँ मन जाए आप शादी कर सकता है, हम लोग ये नहीं कर सकता है। आप लोग को बेटियों को ऊपर आपका ये 3-3 शादी करके आप लोग महिला को अपमान करता है। हम लोग हिंदू धर्म का कोई भी आदमी ऐसा बात सोचता भी नहीं हो और ऐसा बात आप बोल भी नहीं सकते। अगर आपको ऐसा बात बयान रखना है, आप बांग्लादेश जाइए, जहाँ पे बयान रखिए। इंडिया में ये बयान आपको नहीं चलेगा और इतना नीचे तक आप मत जाइए। पॉलिटिक्स कीजिए, लेकिन पॉलिटिक्स के लिए अपना माँ बहन को आप कभी भी बिक्री मत कीजिए। उसका सम्मान को आप, उसका मान सम्मान को आप कभी भी मत ठोकरिए। ये मत ठोकरिए, ये मेरा आपसे रिक्वेस्ट है। और अगली बार ऐसा बयान आप रखेगा, आपको ऊपर पूरा इंडिया आपका अगेंस्ट पे चला जाएगा। तब आपको पता चलेगा जे ये कितना बड़ी बात आप बोल रहे हैं। दिस इज वेरी अनफॉर्चुनेट। अभी भी कभी भी ऐसा बात रखिए मत।
देखिए, महिलाओं के प्रति इस प्रकार का रुख अपनाना वैसे ही गलत है और जिस प्रकार से एक जिम्मेवार व्यक्ति ने इस प्रकार का बयान दिया है तो माफ़ी मांगनी चाहिए। इस प्रकार की मानसिकता ना तो हिंदू समाज में कहीं रही है, ना ही मुझे लगता है कि इस प्रकार की भाषा का प्रयोग करना चाहिए। नारी हमेशा सम्मान का पात्र रही है हिंदुस्तान में, चाहे वो मुस्लिम नारी हो, चाहे वो हिंदू नारी हो। इसलिए मुझे लगता है इस प्रकार के शब्द वापस लेना बहुत ज़रूरी है।
communal misogynist comment, but also let's listen into what AIADMK chief Badruddin Ajmal had said, sparking off this controversy.
वैसे ही दिखेगा, उन्होंने काला चश्मा लगाया तो हम उनको काले दिखेंगे, चाहे हम कितने खूबसूरत हो। हाँ, अभी वो जो फिल्म वाले कभी कभी बनाते ना, एकदम से खूबसूरत चेहरे वाला हीरो को काला बना देते हैं। तो ये लोग काला बना के मुसलमानों को बैठे हुए हैं, इनको डर है मुसलमानों से। अरे भाई, किस बात का डर है? सरकार जाके, हुकूमत जाके 200, 300 साल हो गया, लोग आपके साथ मिलजुल के रहते हैं। कांग्रेस की जब तक हुकूमत रही इस मुल्क में, बीजेपी की जब तक हुकूमत नहीं आई, यही लोग देशवासियों के साथ मिल के होते रहे। अब आप आए हो, रोजाना एक नया नया हिस्सा निकाल रहे हो, तो ये आपके प्लानिंग के अंदर है। मुसलमानों के प्लानिंग के अंदर ऐसा कुछ नहीं है। 22 साल में शादी कर लेते हैं लड़कियां, 18 साल सरकार ने इजाजत दी, उसके बाद शादी कर लेते हैं। वो लोग 40 साल से पहले 1, 2, 3 इलीगल बीवियां रखते हैं, वहाँ बच्चे होने नहीं देते, उनका खर्चा वो बजाते हैं, मजा उड़ाते हैं। उसके बाद 40 साल के बाद माँ बाप ने मजबूर किया या कहीं फंस गए तो एक शादी कर ली। उसके बाद 40 साल के बाद बच्चा पैदा करने के
सर, चुनाव प्रचार तो खत्म हो गया, परसों वोटिंग होनी है। पूरे चुनाव प्रचार के दौरान हमने एक चीज़ देखा कि बीजेपी रोज़ एक नया आरोप लगाती थी, एक नया वीडियो लेके आती थी, लेकिन अरविंद केजरीवाल कहते थे ये फर्जी है। सत्येंद्र जैन के लगातार वीडियो आते रहे और अब रिपोर्ट निकल के सामने आई, इसमें कहा गया कि जो थेरेपी दे रहा था वो तो है ही नहीं फिजियोथेरेपिस्ट, और साथ साथ ये भी कहा गया कि उनको प्रेशराइज किया गया। क्या कहेंगे आप?
फर्जीवाल कुछ भी कहें, उसको बाकी फर्जी ही लगेंगे, क्योंकि फर्जीवाल का जन्म फर्जी वादे करना, झूठ बोलना और फिर भ्रष्टाचार करना, इससे ही हुआ है। और ये मिस्टर केजरीवाल फर्जीवाल क्यों जाने जाते हैं? कारण इन्होंने जनता से बड़े बड़े वायदे किए, कहा 16 स्मोक टावर लगाऊंगा, 2 भी नहीं लगा पाए और दोनों के दोनों बंद पड़े हैं। इन्होंने कहा पंजाब में हमारी सरकार बनेगी, पराली जलनी बंद होगी, नहीं, पहले से ज़्यादा जली और पोल्यूशन ज़्यादा हुआ। इन्होंने कहा हम भ्रष्टाचार मुक्त शासन देंगे, लेकिन इनके स्वास्थ्य मंत्री भ्रष्टाचार के चलते जेल में है 6 महीने से, उनका इस्तीफा नहीं लिया, बल्कि वो जेलर का चैम्बर इस्तेमाल करके निर्देश जारी करते हैं। यही नहीं, एक रेपिस्ट को फिजियोथेरेपिस्ट बनाकर अंदर भेजते हैं। केजरीवाल जी के पास क्या फिजियोथेरेपिस्ट खत्म हो गए थे? और एक भ्रष्टाचारी को मसाज कराने की केजरीवाल जी को क्या पड़ी थी? अरे ये तो वो लोग हैं जिसने ठगों को भी ठग लिया। सुकेश जो ठगी के चलते अंदर है, उसको भी ठगने का काम अरविंद केजरीवाल और सत्येंद्र जैन ने किया। तो ये अपने आप में दिखाता है कि क्या स्थिति आज आम आदमी पार्टी की हो गई है। इनके शिक्षा मंत्री शराब का घोटाला करते हैं, गली गली में शराब के ठेके खोलने का काम करते हैं। ये अपने आप में आम आदमी की स्थिति को दिखाता है। ये कहते हैं हम स्कूल खोलेंगे, एक भी स्कूल नहीं खोला।
ये स्थिति बताई लोगों को, तो लोगों का क्या रिस्पॉन्स था इस चीज़ पे?
लोग सब जानते हैं कि अरविंद केजरीवाल ने कहा था कि कोई भी ऐसी जगह नहीं हुई जहां हम स्कूल नहीं खोलेंगे, एक भी नहीं खोल पाए। कोई यूनिवर्सिटी नहीं खोल पाए, स्पोर्ट्स यूनिवर्सिटी तो दूर की बात, कोई कॉलेज नहीं खोल पाए। ये लोग विश्वास करते हैं, इसीलिए इनकी दुकान उत्तर प्रदेश में सारी जगह जमानत जब्त हुई, उत्तराखंड में जमानतें जब्त हुई, हिमाचल में तो इनकी दुकान 4 महीने पहले बंद हो गई, पार्टी छोड़ के लोग चले गए, आए नहीं प्रचार करने के लिए। अब निगम में भी इनकी यही स्थिति है कि दिल्ली के नगर निगम में भी लोग आम आदमी पार्टी को बुरी तरह हराएंगे। और भारतीय जनता पार्टी जिसने 9 बड़े अस्पताल 3200 बेड के बनाए, 250 प्राथमिक स्वास्थ्य केंद्र बनाए, 29 मैटरनिटी सेंटर बनाए, 8 टीबी के सेंटर बनाए, और तो और हमने 2000 से ज़्यादा पार्क में ओपन जिम बनवाए, 3700 से ज़्यादा पार्क में हमने झूले लगवाने का काम किया बच्चों के लिए, और जो गंदगी के पहाड़ थे उसको 20 मीटर कम किया है। अगले 5 सालों में पूरी जड़ से ख़त्म कर देंगे।
हम दिल्ली की बात कर रहे हैं, आपने विश्वविद्यालय की बात भी की। दिल्ली में एक बड़ा विश्वविद्यालय है, जवाहरलाल नेहरू विश्वविद्यालय। वहाँ पर एक ऐसा स्लोगन निकल के आया जिसमें लिखा हुआ दीवारों पर कि ब्राह्मणवाद के खिलाफ, ब्राह्मणों के खिलाफ, बनियों के खिलाफ। एक बड़ी बात है कि हम बदला लेने आएंगे, हर जगह खून दिखेगा। क्या कहेंगे आप जिस तरह के स्लोगन निकल के?
जिसने भी ये हरकत की है उसके खिलाफ कड़ी से कड़ी कार्रवाई विश्वविद्यालय के अधिकारियों को करनी चाहिए। और ये मैं इसलिए कह रहा हूँ कि ऐसी सोच को पनपने ही नहीं देना चाहिए जो समाज में तनाव पैदा करते हों। और ये वही स्थान है जहाँ पर आपने देखा होगा कुछ साल पहले भारत के टुकड़े हों हजार, इंशाल्लाह इंशाल्लाह के नारे लगते थे। जहां पर अ कंट्री विदाउट अ पोस्ट ऑफिस के पोस्टर चिपकाए जाते थे, यानी कि देश का नामो निशान मिटाने की सोच रखते थे। ऐसी सोच को पनपने नहीं देना चाहिए, देश विरोधी सोच है और मुझे पूर्ण विश्वास है वहाँ के अधिकारी जो भी इसके पीछे उसके खिलाफ कड़ी से कड़ी कार्रवाई करें।
सवाल इसलिए मैं आपसे बार बार पूछ रहा हूँ क्योंकि पहले भी इस तरह के स्लोगन्स वहाँ पे लिखे गए हैं, भारत के टुकड़े होंगे, इस तरह के नारे वहाँ पे हुए हैं। क्यों इस तरह की चीजें होती हैं और ब्राह्मणों से और बनियों से क्यों किस तरह की मानसिकता ये दिखाता है, उनसे नफरत की जो बात करते हैं?
देखिए, कुछ लोग नफरत के माध्यम से ही राजनीति करते हैं, बांट कर देश पर राज करने का काम करते हैं। और जो राहुल गांधी जी आज भारत जोड़ो यात्रा चला रहे हैं, इसमें वही लोग हैं जो कुछ समय भारत के टुकड़े करने के नारे लगाते थे, जो पोस्टर चिपकाते थे कि देश का नामो निशान मिटा देंगे। अरविंद केजरीवाल जी जाके उनको अपनी सहानुभूति दिखाते थे। तो कांग्रेस और केजरीवाल तो एक ही सिक्के के दो पहलू हैं, एक ही थाली के चट्टे बट्टे हैं। तो मैं तो यही कहूँगा, जब इन लोगों की सोच ऐसी है देश के प्रति और सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक पर ये लोग प्रश्न चिन्ह खड़ा करते हैं, तो आप इनसे और क्या उम्मीद करते हैं?
अब तक कुछ नहीं बोला इसके ऊपर।
देखिए, अरविंद केजरीवाल जी ने तो जिस बेटी के 35 टुकड़े कर दिए उस पर भी कुछ नहीं बोले। ये तो मौलवियों को 42,000 रुपया महीना देने का काम करते हैं, बाकियों पर कुछ नहीं करते हैं। मैं इसलिए कहना चाहता हूँ, ये लोग तुष्टीकरण की राजनीति करते हैं, एक वर्ग तक अपने आप को सीमित रखते हैं। लेकिन दूसरी ओर मोदी जी की सरकार है जो सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास और सबका प्रयास करती है। 3 करोड़ 22 लाख पक्के मकान बना कर देती है, 200 करोड़ से ज़्यादा वैक्सीन लगवाती है, 12 करोड़ शौचालय बनाती है, हर घर को बिजली का कनेक्शन देती है, LED के बल्ब देती है, और तो और हर घर को नल से जल का प्रावधान करके देती है। 80 करोड़ लोगों को 5 किलो अनाज 2.5 साल तक मुफ्त में देती है, 45 करोड़ बैंक खाते खुलवाती है और 20 करोड़ बहनों को 31,000 करोड़ रुपये मदद के रूप में गारंटी के दुकानदार और उद्यमियों को आपदा के समय बैंकों से ऋण दिलाए। हमने हर वो काम किया जिससे समाज को बचाया भी जा सके, देश को मजबूत किया जा सके। तभी तो आज भारत दुनिया की 5वीं सबसे बड़ी अर्थव्यवस्था बनकर तैयार।
आखिरी प्रश्न, 250 में से कितनी सीट आपको लगता है मिलेंगी?
मैं तो चाहता हूँ 250 की 250 जीते, लेकिन चुनाव है, हम 2/3 बहुमत से जीतेंगे, फिर निगम में अपनी सेवाएं देंगे।
बीजेपी पूरी तरह से आश्वस्त बताते हुए कि सरकार फिर से बीजेपी की एमसीडी में बनेगी। परवेज करना, पीयूष मिश्रा, रिपब्लिक मीडिया नेटवर्क।
And as we heard Piyush there speaking to the INB minister, he responds on the anti-Hindu slogans, attacks Arvind Kejriwal, says cannot embolden such elements. A very clear message coming from the INB minister. And there's a big setback for China. Formula One has confirmed the 2023 Chinese Grand Prix will not take place due to the ongoing difficulties that are presented by the COVID-19 situation. The breaking news coming in, the protests have gone out of hand in China. China has faced, remember, a big global setback. And therefore, the Chinese Grand Prix has now been cancelled. It's not going to take place. It's a big breaking news that's coming in as we are speaking, and as we're going to try and get people. We'll also tell our viewers that as we are speaking, the protests in China are getting bigger. Let me go across to my colleague Ankit, who's joining me live from the newsroom. Ankit, Chinese authorities are trying to maintain a tight grip on the country's internet via a complex, multi-layered censorship operation. But the protest images that have come out show that many are on the streets protesting against the government. Now the 2023 Chinese Grand Prix has also been cancelled due to the ongoing situation.
About the Chinese Grand Prix being cancelled, it's scheduled to take place in April. So a full 5 months before that, the authorities that run F1, the FIA, has already decided that they will not be able to hold the Shanghai Grand Prix this year for the 4th year running, because, and they say, they would not be given exemptions from quarantine requirements in the event of suffering a COVID-19 infection. This is a direct result of China's zero COVID policy. And that's not it. Like you rightly pointed out, there are protests on the ground and online over this. in the latest development rhythm, there is a top Chinese media mouthpiece spokesperson who has also openly turned against Xi Jinping. This is a gentleman named Hu Jixin, who was the chief editor of the Chinese Global Times, a state-run newspaper, and he himself has now turned against Xi Jinping. He says that he is willing to put up with the threat of COVID for a month for young people's colorful youth and for people from all walks of life to not suffer pay cuts. He says he's 62 years old and he's willing to bear the risk of the COVID severity rate. So here is a person who has for years and years, and he has become famous on social media for peddling the propaganda of the Chinese Communist Party, and he too now has turned against Xi Jinping. Meanwhile, the A4 blank paper protests that have been seen on the streets and roads and the big town squares of China have only grown. They have in fact taken a route online. People are now sharing on Chinese social media these white squares that indicate that they want to protest. The Chinese censors are fighting them back. What we are seeing is that the Chinese netizens are using all kinds of methods to escape the censorship, the automated censorship. They are posting things that have homonym relations to Xi Jinping. So he's called Shrimp Moss and they're opposing him everywhere.
That's right.
So big developments in China, Rhythm.
Absolutely. Ankit, I want you to stay on with us. I also want to go across to our senior executive editor Abhishek, my colleague. Abhishek, I want you to put this into context for us. Earlier in the day, you also got us this news about how the Chinese MOFA was objecting to India-US military exercises. It is first time for them to put their own house in order, where there's an open dissent that's being seen against Xi Jinping's policy. Chinese media stooges are mocking the zero COVID. In fact, what Ankit said is so clear, Abhishek. Shrimp Moss is the code for Xi to step down. There is a resentment, factory sports, Chinese mouthpieces. Everywhere we are seeing they're facing a global setback. And the latest, of course, being the Grand Prix will also be cancelled.
Oh, absolutely, Rhythm. You know, this is unprecedented. This is never before seen in China, at least since 1989, these kind of protests or the scale of protests. Xi Jinping must be surprised that this is happening within 6 weeks of him getting anointed as General Secretary of the Chinese Communist Party for the third term, which itself is something which has happened only second time since the Chinese Communist state came into being in 1948. So in that sense, I think this is clearly a sign of suppression, really reaching a level where it's stopped giving dividends and in fact is now into negative territory insofar as relationship between the Chinese Communist state and its citizens goes. Remember, Xi Jinping studied in Tsinghua University, and Tsinghua University has been at the forefront of these protests to a level where they had to prematurely call off the classes and declare winter holidays even as the winters are to set in, and the dates were still about a week or more away. So in that sense, we get an idea of the unrest that's happening in China. We have seen protests panning out not just in one pocket here and there, but across the country, which began with Urumqi in Xinjiang, but that could have been dismissed as one-off given the fact that it otherwise also is a troubled region. But then the protests have taken place not just in Urumqi, but in Beijing, in Shanghai, in Xi'an, in Wuhan, in Guangdong, and that really shows that the nerve centers insofar as China's trade activity, business activity goes in Shanghai, in Wuhan, in Guangdong, even those are affected, which means the citizens perhaps have come to a conclusion that the zero COVID policy and the consequent or related or connected state repression is something that they have to call the bluff of. Remember, Rhythm, the Chinese state might be a little apprehensive or worried that because of the zero COVID, all these citizens perhaps might have lower immunity levels. And that's the reason why, even after deciding that they have to gradually open up, and for which about a fortnight back the Chinese Communist state came out with a 20-point program, they were hesitant. That's right. And that has led to these kind of protests. So I think the citizens thought that despite the fact that a provision has been made to open up, the state is not opening. And that's the reason why these protests on the Chinese streets across the country, and the impulsive, repressive response coming in from the Chinese state.
Absolutely. And as we see no Chinese Grand Prix, we also tell you the inhuman clampdown in China is now getting global attention. It is time. The COVID-0 policy fallout is clearly seen and spelt out. I thank Abhishek and Ankit for joining us on this breaking news. The other top focus in the breaking news that's coming in, Bollywood actor Nora Fatehi appeared before the Enforcement Directorate to record her statement in a connection with a 200 crore money laundering probe against conman Sukesh Chandrashekhar. She has been quizzed by the Enforcement Directorate for 5 hours. And before I go across to more details about what's been happening as she's been quizzed by the central agency, we first go across to a sequence that our colleague Piyush Ori has played, and he confronted her at the ED office. Watch on.
Nora, did you receive some gift from Nora, did you receive gift? Nora, did you receive gift? 1 minute.
1 second, move the mic from my face.
Nora, did you receive gift from Sukesh Chandrashekhar?
No.
Okay. So they has.
Bye.
Thank you. Nora, did you receive some gift from Nora, did you receive gift? Nora, did you receive gift?
1 minute. 1 second, move the mic from my face.
Nora, did you receive gift from Sukesh Chandrashekhar?
No.
Okay. So they has.
Bye.
Thank you. Nora, did you receive some gift from Nora, did you receive gift? Nora, did you receive gift?
1 minute. 1 second, move the mic from my face.
Nora, did you receive gift from Sukesh Chandrashekhar?
No.
Okay. So they has.
Bye.
And I want to go across to Piyush Ori, who's joining us live from the ED office. Piyush, a huge congratulations. Even as she's walking out after 5 hours, it is you who actually asked that very critical question to her. And it is in the question that the answer was very critical. She gave a simple answer, smiling no. But it's very evident that therefore she's, before the Enforcement Directorate, denying any links with Sukesh Chandrashekhar. I first want you to tell us what's been happening since morning, and then we go across to all the breaking news on the story.
So yes, thank you so much, Rhythm. But does this simple answer of saying no really reduce the troubles of Nora Fatehi? It will be interesting to know that what stance now ED is going to take on this investigation, in which not only Nora Fatehi but also Jacqueline Fernandez, another Bollywood starlet, is being investigated. Now, what we know is that Bollywood starlet Jacqueline Fernandez has already been made as the co-accused in this 200 crore money laundering case, in which the prime accused is Sukesh Chandrashekhar. But right now, Nora Fatehi is the witness. But now, since there has been a questioning which has carried on for 5 hours and has just ended, it will be interesting to know that will ED now take a tough stance against Nora Fatehi? Will Nora Fatehi be made an accused in the case? Because there have been some very startling revelations that have come from the sources. First, there has been a communication link that has been established between Nora Fatehi and Sukesh Chandrashekhar through WhatsApp chats. There is again that event which was attended by Nora Fatehi from the proceeds of crime by Sukesh Chandrashekhar in Chennai, which has come to fore. And lastly, just like Bollywood starlet Jacqueline Fernandez, it has again come to fore that Nora Fatehi too was beneficiary of receiving some expensive gifts from Sukesh Chandrashekhar. So yes, right now Nora Fatehi seems confident. She, in a very smiling manner, said no to our question, in which she clearly denied that she did not receive any gifts from Sukesh Chandrashekhar. But then it's going to be interesting to see that will ED take any stern action against Nora Fatehi, or will she just be made a witness in this 200 crore money laundering case, in which the prime accused is Sukesh Chandrashekhar, but the co-accused is Jacqueline Fernandez. Back to you in the studio.
Yes. Thank you, Piyush, for seeing that questioning and giving us that perspective.
The AIADMK party, the leading opposition party in the state, is conducting a hunger fast in the district of Coimbatore. The party's new interim general secretary, Edappadi K. Palaniswamy, who's also the opposition leader, is leading this hunger fast in Coimbatore, which is entirely against the ruling DMK government. And this hunger fast demonstration is mainly against the recent price hike of milk in the state, as well as the hike in the EB tariffs, the improper road facilities in Coimbatore district, as well as all the development projects that are currently under a pause in the district of Coimbatore. The other leaders of the AIADMK party, including MLA from the Coimbatore district, SP Velumani, and other important leaders, are also taking part in this hunger fast that is being conducted today, which is a demonstration to oppose, go against all the improper decisions and improper projects that are not being continued in the district of Coimbatore. This is Vashni Ramu along with camera person Dilip for Republic TV.
And coming up after a short break, anger among Sikh community. 1984 riot accused Congress star campaigner Jagdish Tytler has been chosen for the MCD elections to campaign for the Vadra Congress. And almost a fortnight after assault on restaurant staff in Bengaluru, BJP's Neta's son is still absconding. Much more after a short break. Stay on with India's favorite news channel, Republic TV.
Bajrang Dal staging protests over the comment made by the Israeli filmmaker, and anger that is growing across the nation over the insult to Kashmiri pundits.
Bilkis Bano has now moved the Supreme Court over the release of 11 convicts was challenged in the Supreme Court. Bilkis demanded to send everyone back to jail.
From Dibrugarh University, case of ragging had shocked the entire country.
As Gujarat goes to polls on the 1st of December, 89 of 182 seats will vote.
Where high voltage political battle has broken out in the state of Gujarat since the bipolarity of the state.
Will the BJP score a record victory in Gujarat? Is the Aam Party even a factor?
Politics has been challenged for the first time. Watch the fastest updates only on India's election headquarters
on Republic TV.
These are the Kashmiri Pandits. They are staging protests because they are feeling the similar kind of situation what they faced in 1990s in the Kashmir. And they are saying one thing that is very clear, that those who are trying to portray that the Kashmir Files movie was a propaganda, they are trying to just portray and give a clean sheet to those who have been culprits of the genocide of the Kashmiri Pandits.
Where 6 people have been reported dead and 15 injured in a collision between a road-based bus and a truck in Tapesipa in Bihar. Former Food and Civil Supplies and Consumer Affairs Minister Bharat Bhushan Anshu arrested by the Punjab Vigilance Bureau in connection with the 2,000 crore food grain transportation scam.
Dibrugarh University on the ragging case there, which has caused serious concern and which has escalated. Dibrugarh police have arrested another student.
A high voltage battle which will decide the nation's political trajectory. Who will break their records and which faces will be the winners?
89 out of the 108.
Controversial slogans emerge on JNU campus. That's the graffiti. Sangees go back to your shaka. Brahmins not welcome. There will be bloodshed. What's going on? Top union ministers respond to the controversial graffiti on JNU campus, say there is an attempt to divide people, divide students on campus. Jagdish Titler officially campaigning for the Congress party ahead of the MCD elections. The 1984 riot tainted Titler is a star for the Congress party. The VVIP brat in Karnataka still on the run, absconding 11 days after assaulting eatery staff. The video is clear. Goldie Brar, wanted in the murder of Sidhu Moosewala, has been detained in California. And top leaders who switched sides before the elections in Punjab, including Captain Amrinder and Sunil Jakhar, have been elevated by the BJP to the national executive. Getting in some breaking news now from Hyderabad in Telangana, where Vijay Sharmila of the YSRTP, now she's been confronting the KCR government for the last few days in Hyderabad. She's met the DGP of Telangana today, saying that she was manhandled and that there was brute force being used by the police. Sharmila spoke to the media. Republic TV was there, asked her a couple of questions on what she had to say in her letter. There was a memorandum that she also submitted. Let's listen in.
Well, now we are here joined in by YSRTP Chief Vijay Sharmila. Ma'am, you have given a representation to the DGP of Telangana in regard with your padayatra and also various other issues which has recently happened. What do you have to say on that?
Well, we came and explained. We are here at the DGP office to ask for protection. The court has already given us a prior order, plus we've taken a fresh order again in the light of all the recent developments. So we've come here to ask for protection for the law and order, to maintain the law and order. So yes, they have responded very positively. They said they will do their best. And also, I have personally taken it upon myself to report of the police brutality in this state. They say they are friendly police, but they are friendly only to the TRS party. To the general public or to the opposition, all we see is police brutality. There was no need whatsoever to pull our people out of the vehicle, take them to the station, beat them up inside the station. These are not people who have committed heinous crimes or murders. These are just traffic violations. You had to slap sections upon us, you did it. You even asked for remand, though there was no reason for remand for traffic violations. My question is, why are you acting like you're serving the TRS party? The people, the state is paying you money, salaries. You do not need to lose your self-respect. I told them, if you continue acting like this, the police department will lose the confidence and the respect of the people. They said they will look into it.
Going across to Neri, it's been a bit of war of words between the YSRTP chief, Vijay Sharmila, and the KCR government. She's met the DGP. Has she begun a padayatra again? Has she continued with it?
Well, Niranjan, we have been seeing how there has been a massive face-off which has been going in the last 1 week here in the state of Telangana between the YSRTP and the ruling government, that is the TRS here in the state of Telangana. But now when we talk about Vijay Sharmila, she has now met the Telangana DGP and given a representation to him in regard with all the incident which has taken place. Let it be from Warangal to Hyderabad, where she was trying to protest, but then also she has pointed out about the police brutality is what she says. And also at the same time, now what we are being told is that Vijay Sharmila will be once again starting her padayatra from 4th of December, that is day after tomorrow. Vijay Sharmila will once again begin her padayatra, and that will be for almost 10 days long padayatra she is going to start. And for that also she has once again taken permission from the DGP of Telangana. However, the High Court of Telangana had given green signal for Vijay Sharmila to continue with her padayatra, as it was stopped because of the protest which we had seen on Monday, which had broken out in Warangal, and then there was a massive face-off which we had seen here in Hyderabad also. So now Telangana DGP also Vijay Sharmila continues to state that we have got a positive reply from the DGP in regard with this, but also at the same time, not to forget, Niranjan, Vijay Sharmila had yesterday met the Telangana Governor Tamilisai Soundararajan and also gave her details about what exactly transpired and how she was being towed by the police officials from Somajiguda to the police station. And also we have been seeing how there were charges or there were various sections which were being put on against Vijay Sharmila. So now definitely face-off between Vijay Sharmila and the TRS continues, whereas the TRS say that it is very small party here in the state of Telangana, it would not make much difference. So now it all remains to be seen how this will go forward, because Vijay Sharmila will once again begin her padayatra from 4th of December, that is day after tomorrow.
Thank you for that. Let's move on. In fact, Aniri, stay with me because we have another story from Hyderabad where she's reporting from. But let's get you that exclusive story. Republic TV told you a few days back that an actor called Vijay Devarakonda was questioned by the Enforcement Directorate. In fact, he was questioned for several hours, after which when he left the ED office in Hyderabad, he said he was being questioned or called by the ED because of his sheer popularity. Now, there are details emerging with Republic TV. We have some details of the investigation and why he's being questioned. Now, Vijay Devarakonda, who acted in a movie called Liger. Liger was the movie that he acted in last, which was a big flop. It was a big flop movie. Budget was about 125 crore rupees. But we are hearing that the dubious funding of the film is now under the scanner. We've accessed the full details. The investigation spotlight is around 60 to 70 crore funding, which was received by the producers of Liger. My colleague Aneri continues to be with us. Shawan broke the story, so I'm going to go across to Shawan in just a bit. I'll get Shawan also on the story. Aneri, but he claims he's being called because he's popular. Aneri, but we have details about how 60 to 70 crore funding was received by Liger's producers, Puri Connects. Some more details that we're getting in that Puri Connects LLP is run by director Puri Jagannath and also this actor called Charmi, and both of them have been examined by the ED. And on actor Vijay Devarakonda and the funding, the ED sources say that the actor took much lesser remuneration for the film, which they find suspicious. They say that there could be something more to this. Some political links are also emerging. Some Benami companies also being probed. These are investigative details that we've gathered. Shawan is on the phone line. Aneri, be with me. Let me just quickly take a question with him. Shawan, what do we know? Why is he being questioned?
Well, in fact, as far as the actor is concerned, remember, the concerns that have been raised is the fact that as far as the remuneration of the actor in this film goes, he's taken much lesser than what he takes in other cases or in other films. Secondly, there are certain real estate companies that have been floated by the actor in which he's not a director, but he holds shares. But this case essentially stems from the fact that the initial funding that was received by this company called Puri Connects LLP, which is essentially run by director Jagannath Puri and the aspiring actor Charmi, they received roughly about 30 to 40 crore rupees. What is suspicious here is that this company does not have any experience per se, or for that matter, any past project. Despite that, there was a sudden inflow of money that came in roughly around about in 2020 when the film had basically started. At that point in time, about 30 to 40 crores came in, and it came in from about 100 bank accounts. It wasn't a one-time transaction. There was smaller amounts that were coming in, totaling to about 30 to 40 crore rupees. There were about 100 such bank accounts to begin with, and most of these bank accounts turned out to be Benami bank accounts, and that is exactly where the ED has now stepped in. We were given to understand that initially it was about a FEMA violation, but it goes way beyond that. Right now, the Enforcement Directorate is looking into a money laundering case and not a FEMA case. However, having said that, they're also looking into certain foreign transactions that have taken place because foreign technicians as well as Mike Tyson, who was brought into the project, and foreign transactions have taken place, which they haven't been able to explain so far. So how the payments have essentially been made, attracting FEMA violations.
Thank you for that, Shawan. Quickly going back to Aneri. Aneri, he was questioned for what, 9 hours? 9 hours a few days back. Now he says he was targeted, right? Or at least that's what he tried to hint when he said that he's popular and the number of fans are sort of making some people nervous. Obviously, there was a political comment that he was trying to make there, right?
That's right, Niranjan. Vijay Devarakonda, who is the lead actor in the film Liger, which was recently released, and also at the same time, Enforcement Directorate had questioned Vijay Devarakonda for almost 9 to 10 hours, and also at the same time, after coming out from the Enforcement Directorate office, he had addressed the media where he had stated that this is all your love and affection, and so there are sometimes side effects of this. So we have been called for the questioning, and I will definitely cooperate with the investigation, and also will go ahead with the investigation and the questioning which is being asked by the Enforcement Directorate. And also at the same time, he continues to state that this is an experience and it's life. So all of this goes on is what Vijay Devarakonda had stated on Wednesday when he was questioned. On the day he was questioned for near about 9 to 10 hours is what we have been told. And also at the same time, now the larger question remains is that because this movie had almost costed about near about 100 crores. So definitely a larger question remains is that from where did the funding come from? Because most of the shooting of the film was done in the foreign countries, and also at the same time now the 60 to 70 crores which we are pointing out, the Puri Connects link also remains to be seen, because now enforcement, as per Vijay Devarakonda, what he had also on the other day stated that when that he has not been asked to come once again, but now we'll have to see, because Enforcement Directorate had asked him to get few documents, so now they will be examining these documents and then further look into it. And also not to forget, a few days back, Charmi, who is the actor and the producer for the film, Puri Jagannath, had also come for the Enforcement Directorate office for the questioning in connection with this film Liger. So definitely we'll have to wait and watch in regard with what further investigation will come out and what further revolutionary things come out of this film Liger, because it has costed near about 100 crores for this movie which is being made, which was made few months back.
Right. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
इस साल में शादी कर लेते हैं लड़कियां, 18 साल सरकार ने इजाजत दी, उसके बाद शादी कर लेते हैं। वो लोग 40 साल से पहले 1, 2, 3 इलीगल बीवियां रखते हैं, वहां बच्चे होने नहीं देते, उनका खर्चा वो बजाते हैं, मजा उड़ाते हैं। उसके बाद 40 साल के बाद माँ बाप ने मजबूर किया या कहीं फंस गए तो एक शादी कर ली, उसके बाद 40 साल के बाद बच्चा पैदा करने की सलाहियत कहाँ रहती है? तो कैसे उम्मीद रखते हैं तो वहां से इतने बच्चे बढ़ेंगे? तो जो लोग टाइम पे फर्टाइल जमीन के ऊपर आप जब मिट्टी डालोगे और दवा डालोगे, वहां से तो धान ही धान उगेगा, खेती अच्छी होगी, लहान होगी, तरक्की होगी। तो उनको भी अपनाना चाहिए मुसलमानों के इस फॉर्मूले को कि अपने बच्चों को, जवानों को 20-22 साल में शादियां कराओ, लड़कियों को 18-20 साल की उम्र में शादियां कराओ, फिर देखो आपके यहाँ भी कितने बच्चे पैदा होते हैं। लेकिन 2 नंबर ही धंधा मत करो।
What on the VVIP, Brad on the run, getting you details from that story in Bengaluru that shocked the entire country. Look at that, BJP leader's son still on the run. Goldie Brar has been detained in US. He's wanted in the murder of Sidhu Moosewala. It's a big story. He's been held in California. We have all the details.
मेरी नजरों से चुना, तेरी हरकतों से सुना,
वो सपना जो बुना तुझे लगा गुनगुना।
कभी जीती तू, कभी मैं हारा, फिर भी खूबसूरत है ये नजारा, क्योंकि इसमें है खुला
कुछ मेरा कुछ तुम्हारा।
इसलिए ग्रीन लैम लैमिनेट्स, सपने आपके, लैमिनेट्स हमारा। अमेजिंग स्पेसेस के लिए कुछ मेरा कुछ तुम्हारा।
Chief Minister Baswaraj Bommai, as we'd been reporting earlier, is set to visit Belgavi on the 2nd of December. Bommai will visit the bordering village of Belgavi.
The Delhi liquor gate. Now, the Enforcement Directorate has now arrested Amit Arora. Now, remember, it's his 6th arrest in the case.
The joint operation for the BSF as well as the Punjab Police, as they have recovered 5 AK rifles, 5 pistols and 9 magazines that have been recovered from the Firozpur area.
The report exposes how Robert Vadra and Huda's family conspired together in a multi-crore scam. Mr. Malia, why are the questions bothering you when I'm not getting a single answer? The entire disputed land will be handed over to the Hindu parties to make a Ram temple.
The mental torture of Jadhav that is consistently happening there, it's a very clear indication about how these confessions are actually doctored and taken. Delhi High Court has said the riots in 2020 evidently did not happen in the spur of the moment.
We see a split verdict in the Supreme Court. The one thing that needs to be understood is what is going to happen ahead.
Bajrang Dal staging protests over the comment made by the Israeli filmmaker and anger that is growing across the nation over the insult to Kashmiri Pandits.
Bilkis Bano has now moved the Supreme Court over the release of 11 convicts was challenged in the Supreme Court. Bilkis demanded to send everyone back to jail.
From Dibrugarh University, case of ragging had shocked the entire country.
As Gujarat goes to polls on the 1st of December, 89 of 182 seats will vote.
Where high voltage political battle has broken out in the state of Gujarat since the bipolarity of the state.
Will the BJP score a record victory in Gujarat? Is the Aam Aadmi Party even a factor?
Politics has been challenged for the first time. Watch the fastest updates only on India's election headquarters
on Republic TV. Getting these pictures, very dramatic pictures coming in from Muzaffarpur in Bihar, where CTET aspirants created ruckus during Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar and Deputy Chief Minister of Bihar Tejasvi Yadav's public meeting. Details coming in. Prakash, my colleague, is joining us. This is something that's been ongoing for several weeks and months now. Prakash, it's reached Nitish Kumar.
Nitish Kumar and Tejasvi Yadav were addressing a bipole election rally here in Bihar in the Kurni Assembly constituency. And in the visuals, we can see the chairs are being hurled by the CTET and BTET applicants. And they have been demanding the regularization of the post so that the vacancies could be created. And some of the groups had barged into the rally and they were expressing their anger to regularize the vacancies. But it has been going on for quite some time, and when Tejasvi Yadav was the leader of the opposition, these people used to meet him quite oftenly, and they were given assurances that as and when he joins the government or becomes a part of the government, or when he gets the opportunity, justice would be done to them. But that's what they were expressing their anger, and we can see in the visuals that chairs being hurled in the rally there in the presence of Nitish Kumar and Tejasvi Yadav.
Stay with these pictures, Prakash. Pretty dramatic, the pictures that are coming in. In fact, in some of these visuals, you can also see that teacher candidates, basically the CTET and BTET teacher candidates who stormed the rally and the meeting of Chief Minister of Bihar, Nitish Kumar. And this was a rally ahead of the by-polls. Election between the two giants for a by-election scheduled for the 5th of December. Voting will take place, that is the counting for this by-poll will take place on the 8th of December. He was addressing the rally. This is in Kurhani Assembly we are hearing. And the Chief Minister of Bihar was delivering an address, faced sloganeering by the CTET, BTET teachers. The candidates, they've heard sloganeering against the Chief Minister. And the teacher aspirants launched an attack on the Bihar Chief Minister, raising slogans, saying shame on Nitish, etc. Some even hurled chairs towards Nitish Kumar is what we are seeing in these videos. There was also hearing of also some chanting of slogans that was captured on cameras and on the mic, and there was a huge ruckus. We're hearing that Nitish Kumar supporters also responded, and both sides threw chairs at each other. Finally, somehow, as per the reports that are emerging, hearing that supporters of the Chief Minister successfully then somehow forced these teachers to step back. More on the slogans at JNU campus, very controversial, back-to-back breaking reactions coming into it. Stay tuned. Top posts for Captain Amrinder and Sunil Jakhar, former Congress leaders now with the BJP. They've been elevated to the BJP National Executive.
Will smart manufacturing complement traditional manufacturing processes or replace them entirely?
India will be able to contribute approximately 5% of the global market in terms of when we talk about additive manufacturing.
What kind of opportunities does it hold for the BTech students?
Amrita University, I would say, is ideal for students who come into manufacturing, additive manufacturing.
To know more, watch Amrita School of Engineering presents Shaping the Future of India this weekend, only on Republic TV.
These are the Kashmiri Pandits. They are staging protests because they are feeling the similar kind of situation what they faced in 90s in the Kashmir. And they are saying one thing that is very clear, that those who are trying to portray that the Kashmir Files movie was a propaganda, they are trying to just portray and give a clean sheet to those who have been culprits of the genocide of the Kashmiri Pandits.
Where 6 people have been reported dead and 15 injured in a collision between a road-based bus and a truck in Tapesipa in Baharich. Former Food and Civil Supplies and Consumer Affairs Minister Bharat Bhushan Anshu arrested by the Punjab Vigilance Bureau in connection with the 2,000 crore food grain transportation scam.
Dibrugarh University on the ragging case there, which has caused serious concern and which has escalated. Dibrugarh police have arrested another student.
A high voltage battle which will decide the nation's political trajectory. Who will break their records and which faces will be the winners?
89 out of the 182 seats go to polls. Stay tuned to India's election news headquarters
as Gujarat goes to polls. Live coverage minute by minute
all day today on Republic.
Top stories from across the country now. Union Minister Nora Fatehi speaking to Republic TV on the campaign trail in Delhi ahead of the MCD elections, reacted to the JNU controversy, saying some wanted to divide India.
जिसने भी ये हरकत की है उसके खिलाफ कड़ी से कड़ी कार्रवाई विश्वविद्यालय के अधिकारियों को करनी चाहिए। और ये मैं इसलिए कह रहा हूँ कि ऐसी सोच को पनपने ही नहीं देना चाहिए जो समाज में तनाव पैदा करते हों। और ये वही स्थान है जहाँ पर आपने देखा होगा कुछ साल पहले भारत के टुकड़े हजार इंशाल्लाह इंशाल्लाह के नारे लगते थे, जहाँ पर अ कंट्री विदाउट अ पोस्ट ऑफिस के पोस्टर चिपकाए जाते थे, यानी कि देश का नामो निशान मिटाने की सोच रखते थे। ऐसी सोच को पनपने नहीं देना चाहिए, देश विरोधी सोच है। और मुझे पूर्ण विश्वास है वहाँ के अधिकारी जो भी इसके पीछे उसके खिलाफ कड़ी से कड़ी कार्रवाई करें।
Union Minister Meenakshi Lekhi also reacted to the casteist hate slogans at JNU, saying divisive forces were at play on campus.
I mean, I feel usage of any derogatory word against any community is a bad thing and should not happen. We are all Indians and Indians need to stand by each other irrespective of their caste, color or creed. I mean, if you see my surname, it's Lekhi. A few hundred years ago, we'd given up the caste system.
The BJP today appointed former Punjab Chief Minister Amrinder Singh, Captain Amrinder Singh and Sunil Jakhar, as well as its former Uttar Pradesh President Swatantra Dev Singh as members of its national executive. There were more decisions that were made and some surprises as well, as the BJP named former Congress spokesperson Jaivir Shergill as its national spokesperson. The party said in a statement that was issued, Jaivir had quit the Congress a few months ago. Bollywood actor Nora Fatehi on Friday was quizzed at the Enforcement Directorate office in the 200 crore money laundering case involving conman Sukesh Chandrashekhar. She was quizzed for over 5 hours. On the 15th of September, Nora was quizzed by the Economic Offences Wing or the EOW of the Delhi Police for more than 4 hours, along with Pinky Irani, who reportedly introduced Nora and Jacqueline Fernandez to the jailed conman Sukesh.
Nora, did you receive some gift from Nora, did you receive gift? Nora, did you receive gift? 1 minute.
1 second, move the mic from my face.
Nora, did you receive gift from Sukesh Chandrashekhar?
No.
Okay.
Sources have informed that top Chhattisgarh bureaucrat in Bhupesh Baghel government has now been arrested. Deputy Secretary in the office of Chief Minister of Chhattisgarh, Bhupesh Baghel, his name is Soumya Chaurasia, has now been arrested in the coal extortion case. The Deputy Commissioner Chaurasia is one of the top bureaucrats in the Baghel office. He's now been arrested. ED suspects that 500 crore was collected as coal levy in 16 months. Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann said Canada-based top gangsters Goldie Brar, the alleged mastermind in the killing of Punjabi singer Sidhu Moosewala, has been detained in California, United States.
गैंगस्टर, तो गैंगस्टर पैदा करने वाले कौन थे? गैंगस्टर पैदा हुए अकाली और भाजपा की गवर्नमेंट में, उनको पनाह दी, बढ़ावा मिला कांग्रेस की सरकार में, कैप्टन की सरकार में। अकाली और भाजपा की सरकार में जेल ब्रेक होती रही कि हाई सिक्योरिटी जेल ब्रेक हो गई, इतने कैदी भाग गए।
Right-tainted Jagdish Titler campaigns officially for the Congress party in Delhi ahead of the MCD elections. They've made him a star campaigner despite all the anger. And more on the VVIP Brat on the Run, getting you that story from Bengaluru.
मेरी नजरों से चुना, तेरी हरकतों से सुना, कभी जीती तू, कभी मैं हारा, फिर भी खूबसूरत है ये नजारा, क्योंकि इसमें है घुला
कुछ मेरा, कुछ तुम्हारा।
अमेजिंग स्पेसेस के लिए ग्रीन लैम लैमिनेट्स, कुछ मेरा, कुछ तुम्हारा।
Bajrang Dal staging protests over the comment made by the Israeli filmmaker and anger that is growing across the nation over the insult to Kashmiri Pandits.
Bilkis Bano has now moved the Supreme Court over the release of 11 convicts was challenged in the Supreme Court. Bilkis demanded to send everyone back to jail.
From Dibrugarh University, case of ragging had shocked the entire country.
As Gujarat goes to polls on the 1st of December, 89 of 182 seats will vote.
Where high voltage political battle has broken out in the state of Gujarat since the bipolarity of the state.
Will the BJP score a record victory in Gujarat? Is the Aam Aadmi Party even a factor?
Politics has been challenged for the first time. Watch the fastest updates only on India's election headquarters
on Republic TV.
These are the Kashmiri Pandits. They are staging protests because they are feeling the similar kind of situation what they faced in 1990s in the Kashmir. And they are saying one thing that is very clear, that those who are trying to portray that the Kashmir Files movie was a propaganda, they are trying to just portray and give a clean sheet to those who have been culprits of the genocide of the Kashmiri Pandits.
where 6 people have been reported dead and 15 injured in a collision between a roadways bus and a truck in Tapesipa in Baharich. Former Food and Civil Supplies and Consumer Affairs Minister Bharat Bhushan Anshu arrested by the Punjab Vigilance Bureau in connection with the 2,000 crore food grain transportation scam.
Dibrugarh University on the ragging case there, which has caused serious concern and which has escalated. Dibrugarh police have arrested another student.
A high voltage battle which will decide the nation's political trajectory. Who will break their records and which faces will be the winners?
89 out of the 182 seats go to polls. Stay tuned to India's election news headquarters
as Gujarat goes to polls. Live coverage minute by minute
all day today on Republic.
Massive controversy as JNU walls defaced with anti-Hindu hate slogans. Anti-Hindu graffiti after Tukre slogan. Who is pushing the hate agenda on JNU campus? AIADMK chief makes communal sexist comments on population debate, faces backlash. One nation, one law debate back after Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, 2 hints at UCC implementation. Republic accesses exclusive details of ED investigation into Vijay Devarakonda's film Liger. And Nora Fatehi questioned by ED for over 5 hours in connection with her links to conman Sukesh Chandrashekhar. Good evening, welcome to This is Exclusive, and today we are going to focus on One India, One Law viewers. The Bharatiya Janata Party government in Madhya Pradesh has now announced that a committee will be formed for the implementation of the UCC in the state. The announcement made by the Chief Minister, this comes a day after Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis too made a similar announcement. UCC would be a possibility in Maharashtra. As we look at this and the debate, and once again, one nation, one law grows stronger, let me also introduce our exclusive guest on This is Exclusive, former member of the Rajya Sabha, noted personality, Dr. Subramaniam Swamy, who's joining us live on UCC debate. Namaste, sir. As we welcome you on the debate, we've seen you several times in the Supreme Court in several PILs. Today, the question, I was going through what you've said, Dr. Swamy, on the UCC. Several times you've said this is favoring, Supreme Court has favored Article 44. What stops India today, Dr. Swamy, from making this a reality? Okay, as Dr. Swamy, we're just trying to get in touch with him, viewers. And today this becomes an extremely relevant debate as we're going to try and focus on Maharashtra as well as Madhya Pradesh, both of them making an announcement and hinting at UCC. And even as states are continuing to speak about it, we have to understand how UCC will become a reality. We'll try and get in touch with Dr. Subramaniam Swamy, who's now joining us live on the debate on UCC. And as I try and see whether he can hear me, Dr. Subramaniam Swamy had earlier stated this must become a reality and its time has come. And as I try and once again patch him, let me first go across to the reactions coming in today. Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan has stated that UCC should be a reality. Let's listen in to what he said.
कई बार बड़े खेल हो जाते हैं, खुद जमीन नहीं ले सकते तो कोई आदिवासी के नाम से जमीन ले ली। होता है कि नहीं होता? अरे बोलो ना भैया। और कई बदमाश ऐसे भी आ गए जो किसी आदिवासी बेटी से शादी कर लेते और शादी करके उसके नाम से जमीन ले लेते। आज मैं जागरण की अलख जगाने आया हूं। बेटी से शादी की और जमीन ले ली। मैं तो इस बात का पक्षधर हूं कि भारत में अब समय आ गया है कि एक समान नागरिक संहिता लागू होनी चाहिए। एक से ज्यादा शादी क्यों करे कोई? एक देश में दो विधान क्यों चलेगी? एक ही होना चाहिए। और मध्य प्रदेश में भी मैं कमेटी बना रहा हूं। समान नागरिक संहिता, एक पत्नी रखने का अधिकार है तो एक ही पत्नी सबके लिए होनी चाहिए, फिर ज्यादा क्यों होना चाहिए?
On This Is Exclusive, we're joined by Dr. Subramaniam Swamy, former cabinet minister, 6-term MP, and someone who's a noted personality, always calling a spade a spade. Dr. Swamy, as I welcome you on the show, I asked several times, you've made speeches on the UCC. How soon do you think it should become a reality? Because you and I surely know its time has come.
Yes, the only implementation is Article 44 here. So the states making announcements.
We're just going to try and reconnect with Dr. Swamy. Viewers, as we try and do that, let us tell you the breaking news that's coming in today on the story where the BJP in 2 states has now hinted that UCC should become a reality. In fact, in Madhya Pradesh, we just played out the Chief Minister's reaction where he said that the committee will be formed for the implementation of the Uniform Civil Code. This comes one day after Devendra Fadnavis, Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister, has also made a similar announcement. If this is becoming a possibility, then how soon can we believe UCC, One India, One Law will be a reality in India? And as we focus on that and try and go back to Dr. Swamy, we have to also ask a question whether Shivraj government will be implementing the UCC in Madhya Pradesh. As there is a lot of people opposing it in the political circles, there are more people and more Indians across India saying it's time for the Uniform Civil Code to become a reality. There should be one India and one law. In fact, on Thursday, asserting there are fraud elements, they are marrying women from tribal communities, taking over land. The Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan, pictures on the screen clearly show that he said that there's a decision to form a committee to look into the implementation of the Uniform Civil Code. Now, the opposition is criticizing this. The Vadra Congress thinks that this is not something that should be allowed. But addressing the rally, there was Chauhan who said, why should there be 2 laws in one country? There should be only one law. There's a move made in Gujarat, in Uttarakhand, and now in Madhya Pradesh, we are seeing that this too could be a reality. There will be a committee that will be looking into this. We also know that just yesterday, Devendra Fadnavis, Deputy Maharashtra Chief Minister, had made a similar announcement. This is in the BJP manifesto promising UCC, and also in Gujarat, the BJP, as it unveiled the manifesto, had stated the same. Let me first go across to several reactions that are coming in on this, and then we'll be back on the agenda setting interview.
केवल जुमलेबाजी और चुनावी स्टंट है, इसके अलावा और कुछ नहीं है और सत्यता से परे है, सच्चाई से बहुत दूर है। इसलिए दूर है कि मैं उनसे पूछना चाहता हूं कि ट्राइबल का जो कानून है उसके लिए क्या करेंगे? ट्राइबल का अलग कानून है। नॉर्थ ईस्ट में जो अलग कानून चल रहा है उसका क्या करेंगे? ऐसे बहुत सारे रिलीजियस के कानून हैं जो सबके अलग अलग हैं, तो उसके चलते किस तरह का कॉमन सिविल बनाना चाहते हैं? ये केवल एक भ्रम है और मुस्लिम पर्सनल लॉ को एक ठेस पहुंचाने वाला काम है। केवल एक भ्रमित करना ताकि एक मुस्लिम पर्सनल लॉ का नाम हाईलाइट करके जो महंगाई, जो भ्रष्टाचार, जो खुद की गलत नीतियां, उससे मतदाता का दिमाग हटाकर ध्रुवीकरण कर चुनाव जीतने का एक स्टैंड है। इसके अलावा कुछ भी नहीं है। इसका मैं घोर विरोध करता हूं।
आदरणीय राहुल गांधी जी स्वरा भास्कर जी को लेकर के, कन्हैया कुमार को लेकर के, सुशांत को साथ में लेने से भारत नहीं जुड़ता। भारत जब जुड़ता है जब 370 समाप्त होती है। भारत जब जुड़ता है जब सीए आता है। भारत जब जुड़ता है जब ट्रिपल तलाक जैसी कुप्रथा समाप्त होती है। आदरणीय, आपके पूर्वजों ने बाबा साहब अम्बेडकर जी के संविधान में जो पुरजोर पैरवी उन्होंने समान नागरिक संहिता को लागू करने की थी, उसको भी लागू नहीं होने दिया है। अब वक्त आ गया है जब एक विधान और एक संविधान और एक राष्ट्र के साथ में हम आगे बढ़ें। सुप्रीम कोर्ट की साहबाना जी को सुप्रीम कोर्ट से जीतने के बाद भी आपने हरा दिया था तुष्टीकरण की राजनीति के कारण से। ये तुष्टीकरण की राजनीति ने देश को बहुत नुकसान किया है। मैं तो आदरणीय कमलनाथ जी से भी निवेदन करूंगा कि उनको भी समान नागरिक संहिता पर अपनी राय को स्पष्ट रूप से जनता के सामने रखना चाहिए।
And joining us on This Is Exclusive, we have Dr. Subramaniam Swamy with us. Dr. Swamy, if you can hear me, he's a former cabinet minister, 6-time MP, someone who's a noted personality and always calls a spade a spade. Dr. Swamy, as we welcome you on the show, the first question to you when we talk about the debate on UCC, we all know it's a directive principle, Article 44, sir. But why are there certain elements in India that continue to say UCC, One India, One Law, should not be a reality?
Well, they can say because they don't want it, but the question is that the Union of India, it is the central government, is bound by the Constitution to implement it. Article 37, which precedes 44, says so. You know, I as an individual cannot go to court and say my fundamental rights are affected if there is a difference between Muslims and Hindus in marriage. But I can't do that under the Constitution because this is in a separate chapter called Directive Principles. And directive to whom? To the government. These are the things you have to implement. And one of them is Article 44, which requires the state to implement Uniform Civil Code. And there's nothing to stop it. Now, states may make statements that only contributes to the atmosphere, but the states can't do it. There's no provision in the Constitution for the states to implement it. It has to be the center, and it has been a part of the BJP manifesto for a very long time. Before that, the Jansangh manifesto. So I think the government, central government, should implement it immediately.
Yes. Dr. Swamy, the Supreme Court several times has declared many times Islamic terms such as Shariat, Fatwa have no bearing in this country. Vested interests keep whipping up these passions to stop acceptance of the Uniform Civil Code.
Yes, of course, but you know, to the credit of the Supreme Court, how many times they have asked the Union of India, the Solicitor General and the Attorney General, when are you going to bring Uniform Civil Code? Because that's a directive from the Constitution for you. And they say, no, we are considering, that's how it has been going on. So the Supreme Court has numerous examples of having said Uniform Civil Code is mandatory for the government to implement, and there should be no delay. So I don't think there is any problem anywhere else except the government's decision to declare that the Uniform Civil Code is coming from January 1, 2023, then it will get implemented. After all, triple talaq has been implemented and there's been hardly any reaction. And I don't think that there will be any reaction except from the hardliners, but who cares for the hardliners? You can't run a democracy with hardliners.
In fact, in the Supreme Court, the affidavit that has been filed by the Law Ministry says, as and when, Dr. Swamy, the report of the Law Commission is received, the government will examine this in consultation with the various stakeholders involved in the matter, and after that, they will come out with a detailed law.
Well, that's buying time. There's no need for any Law Commission on this. It was only one way of telling people, okay, Law Commission is considering it. It's crystal clear what it is there is in the Constitution. And if the government wants to do it, they don't need to even wait for the Law Commission's report. They can tell the Law Commission, there's no need, we are going ahead and implementing it. Law Commission is not binding on the government. A law commission is only if you are ignorant of the subject, then they go to do research and give you a nice fat report. But here there is nothing. It's only a simple matter that the population is half men, half women, so there has to be uniform civil code.
Dr. Swami, one question that I definitely want to ask you. The AIM-PLB moves the Supreme Court and they say it's not just Muslims but other religious minorities who are also against the Uniform Civil Code. And when they state this, they say that there exist tribal laws in Mizoram, other places, and there is no custom, tradition or law that can be uniformly implemented across the country. What do we say to people who don't believe in one India, one law?
They are all obscurantists. They are living in the past centuries, not in the 21st century. This is not a religious matter. This is a matter of the fact that marriage is according to law. So many things follow from it. How you bring your children, how you give your wealth, and so on. So therefore, the question arises that when there are only, as I repeatedly saying, that when there are 50% men and 50% women, the marriage has to be one woman, one man. And therefore, I don't think that we should worry about all these people who were saying that, because there are people who have got vested interest. And they don't want the modernity to come, because then they think that if you start here, then they will move to other things also. And general debate inside the Muslim community, for example, is that if you yield here, then they will go a little further. They will then start saying that you have to wear tika, and you have to wear dhoti, and you have to put a chutiya. All these kinds of things are in the debate. I've heard it myself. That where will you stop? I said there's nothing to stop. The constitution tells me that I have to do it. I must do it.
Absolutely. I have two more questions for you, Dr. Swami. One, of course, being that it's common marriage, divorce, adoption, succession and maintenance laws that will be very critical to see in the UCC. So why is it, you've said this thing earlier also, Hindus get married, one man, one wife, but in Muslims they can be one man, several wives. Isn't this something that's also needed for women, whether it comes to their rights as wives, or whether it comes to marriage laws, or whether it comes to their succession rights?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the sufferers of these kinds of inequalities is women. They don't have any rights, and they can be even. I mean, you can take this one step forward and say that talaq, talaq, talaq. A woman cannot tell her husband talaq, talaq, talaq. But the man can tell. He can get rid of any time his wife and just kick her out of the door and shut the door. So these are all out of date methods, you see. And I think we should not give any much attention to them. We say that the Constitution says this, and you are bound by the Constitution. It's in there in the directive principles. It is a fundamental right for the government, not for the individual, that they must implement it. So rather than worrying about what these people say, I would say the ball is in the government's court, and the government must deliver, because, and especially the present BJP government, because we have put it in our manifesto over and over again. So now let's implement it.
I want to ask you one question more, Dr. Swami. The Article 44 has been put in the Constitution. B.R. Ambedkar has clearly spoken about it. We've also seen Vivekananda speak about it. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was very clear. There needs to be one nation, one law as well. You've gone into the history of it. When our forefathers believed this should be a reality, what stops all communities in India from coming together, collecting and saying it's a part of the Constitution, and we all do believe that there should be one law in India?
All Indians, I would say, if you took a poll, you will find that 95% of the Indians would be wanting it. It's only the clerics, fanatics, And those who want to keep the identity of a particular community separate from the mainstream, you have these kinds of objections. I think we overestimate them. We give them too much importance. We should say this is a requirement of the Constitution and we're going to implement it. Or you bring an amendment and try and get it removed. It's very difficult to remove it from the directive principles. It requires more than 2/3 even to consider removing it. So I think the fault is ours, that we care too much about who's saying what and so on. And I don't think that in the elections it will be adversely affecting any nationalist party at all.
Swami, as we thank you for being with us, the one takeaway we do get is it's the Union of India that needs to act on the Constitution and ensure that this soon is a reality across India. Thank you for your time.
That's right. Yeah. Bye.
Moving on to the other top focus today, viewers, we tell you actor Nora Fatehi was questioned by the Enforcement Directorate for over 5 hours in connection with conman Sukesh Chandrashekhar's case. Today we get you exclusive details of that investigation and interrogation. Sources also reveal she's been questioned on her WhatsApp communication with Sukesh. Before we go across to that, we play out a sequence where my colleague Piyush Ohri asked a question to her, to which she answered. Listen in.
Nora, did you receive some gifts from Nora, did you receive gifts? Nora, did you receive gifts?
1 minute. 1 second. Move the mic from my face.
Nora, did you receive gifts from Sukesh Chandrashekhar?
No.
Okay.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
So there has.
Bye.
Thank you. Nora, did you receive some gifts from Nora, did you receive gifts? Nora, did you receive gifts?
1 minute. 1 second. Move the mic from my face.
Nora, did you receive gifts from Sukesh Chandrashekhar?
No.
Okay.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
So there has. Thank you.
Piyush, I come across to you again, and this is very clear that the ED has said she received gifts from Sukesh Chandrashekhar. This is a part of proceeds of crime. She's been a beneficiary of it. For 5 hours, she's been examined today. There are WhatsApp communications between her and Sukesh that have been looked at. What are the details that you are picking up today?
So this rhythm, there are 3 is looking at, was there a WhatsApp communication link between Sukesh Chandrashekhar and Nora Fatehi? The sources in ED say that yes, a communication link between Nora Fatehi and the second major thing which the ED is investigating is that was Nora Fatehi that was sponsored by the proceeds of crime generated by Sukesh Chandrashekhar. There has been an evidence in which it has been found that Nora Fatehi attend an event in Chennai which was sponsored from the proceeds of crimes of Sukesh Chandrashekhar. And the third most important aspect which the ED is examining is that just like another Bollywood starlet, Jacqueline Fernandez, was Nora Fatehi also the beneficiary of expensive gifts being received from the proceeds of crime of Sukesh Chandrashekhar. So these are the 3 major points which the ED is looking at. So far, Nora Fatehi is the prime witness in this case. But if the investigations of ED goes forward, who knows that just like Jacqueline Fernandez, maybe Nora Fatehi may also become the co-accused in the 200 crore money laundering case in which conman Sukesh Chandrashekhar is the prime accused. Today, there was a 5-hour questioning of Nora Fatehi. When she came out, Republic TV was the only channel to have asked her a specific question, that was she the beneficiary of expensive gifts received from Sukesh Chandrashekhar, in which she in a very smiling manner said no. Has it reduced her troubles? Will it reduce her troubles in the future? We do not know. We only know that the ED is going to investigate the matter, and not only ED but the Delhi Police Economic Offences Wing is also investigating the matter. And just few days back, they had arrested Pinky, a close associate of Sukesh Chandrashekhar. So what we can definitely tell you is that there are several investigative theories which is being propounded by in ED and Delhi Police Economic Offences Wing.
Yes, and Piyush, even as the ED's investigation goes on, I have to say to our viewers, we were the only channel to have asked her a question at such times when there are people leaving the premises of the ED. It's very difficult to put in a question to which you get an answer. Piyush did that beautifully when he asked a question about the gifts. She said no, but our sources do tell us that she's possibly received a BMW car and an iPhone through Sukesh's wife in exchange for attending an event. Much more coming up on that story soon. She's been interrogated for 5 hours. Moving on to other top focus today.
रोड शो की बात नहीं हो रही ओपी दास, बल्कि तमाम दूसरे शहरों में भी जहां प्रधानमंत्री गए हैं वहां उनको कई बार तमाम अवसरों पर ऐसा होता रहा है कि जनता स्वतः स्फूर्त पहुंचकर उनको देखने के लिए, उनका अभिवादन स्वीकार करने के लिए, उनसे रूबरू होने के लिए लगातार उनके पास जुटी है। और आज भी कुछ इसी तरह के दृश्य हम देख सकते हैं जब सड़क के दोनों ओर खड़े तमाम लोग, स्त्री पुरुष, बच्चे, बूढ़े, जवान सब खड़े हुए हैं प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी की एक झलक पाने के लिए।
बिल्कुल निखिल, आप देखिए कि आखिर प्रधानमंत्री की इस लोकप्रियता के पीछे वजह क्या है। वजह यह है कि एक तो लंबे समय तक उन्होंने न सिर्फ गुजरात में मुख्यमंत्री के तौर पर अपनी सेवाएं दी, पिछले 8.5 सालों में वो देश के प्रधानमंत्री के तौर पर, और जैसा वो कहते हैं जिन शब्दों में कि वो प्रधान सेवक के रूप में वो देश की सेवा कर रहे हैं।
Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai, as we've been reporting earlier, is set to visit Belgavi on the 2nd of December. Bommai will visit the bordering village of Belgavi.
The Delhi Liquor Gate. Now, the Enforcement Directorate has now arrested Amit Arora. Now, remember, it's his 6th arrest in the case.
The joint operation for the BSF as well as the Punjab Police, as they have recovered 5 AK rifles, 5 pistols and 9 magazines that have been recovered from the Firozpur area.
The report exposes how Robert Vadra and Huda's family conspired together in a multi-crore scam.
Mr. Malia, why the question is bothering you when I'm not getting a single answer? The entire disputed land will be handed over to the Hindu parties to make a Ram temple.
The mental torture of Jadhav that is consistently happening there, it's a very clear indication about how these confessions are actually doctored and taken.
Delhi High Court has said the riots in 2020 evidently did not happen in the spur of the moment.
We see a split verdict in the Supreme Court. The one thing that needs to be understood is what is going to happen ahead.
Bajrang Dal staging protests over the comment made by the Israeli filmmaker and anger that is growing across the nation over the insult to Kashmiri Pandits.
Bilkis Bano has now moved the Supreme Court over the release of 11 convicts was challenged in the Supreme Court. Bilkis demanded to send everyone back to jail.
From Dibrugarh University, case of ragging had shocked the entire country.
As Gujarat goes to polls on the 1st of December, 89 of 182 seats will vote.
Where high voltage political battle has broken out in the state of Gujarat since the bipolarity of the state.
Will the BJP score a record victory in Gujarat? Is the Aam Aadmi Party even a factor?
Politics has been challenged for the first time. Watch the fastest updates only on India's election headquarters
on Republic TV.
These are the Kashmiri Pandits. They are staging protests because they are feeling the similar kind of situation what they faced in 90s in the Kashmir. And they are saying one thing that is very clear, that those who are trying to portray that the Kashmir Files movie was a propaganda, they are trying to just portray and give a clean sheet to those who have been culprits of the genocide of the Kashmiri Pandits.
where 6 people have been reported dead and 15 injured in a collision between a roadways bus and a truck in.
खासी मशक्कत करनी पड़ती होती है।
एक बार अब अपने दर्शकों को फिर से हम बता दें कि प्रधानमंत्री अहमदाबाद के सर्किट हाउस से निकले हैं और ये करीब 10 किलोमीटर का सफर तय करके सरसपुर गांव पहुंचेंगे, जहां पे जनसभा को संबोधित करेंगे। और प्रधानमंत्री कल भी यहां मौजूद हैं। लगातार चुनावी सरगर्मियों में प्रधानमंत्री भागीदारी कर रहे हैं और सीधा संवाद कर रहे हैं जनता से। और ये दृश्य आप अहमदाबाद की सड़कों के देख रहे हैं। हमारे साथ हमारे वरिष्ठ सहयोगी विनोद जी जुड़ रहे हैं। आइए जरा उनसे हम समझने की कोशिश करते हैं। विनोद जी, हमें सबसे पहले तो ये बताएं कि चुनावी समर है और चुनावी गहमा गहमी है, इस बीच में जो पिछले 8.5 सालों का और अगर उससे और ज्यादा आगे बढ़े पिछले 20 सालों का इतिहास, जो सार्वजनिक जीवन में प्रधानमंत्री का इतिहास रहा है, मुख्यमंत्री के बतौर, प्रधानमंत्री के बतौर, ये देखा गया है कि जब चुनावी
And once again, day 2 of the roadshow that we are seeing, the mega roadshow in the last leg of the campaigning by the BJP, the heavy lifting that is being done by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Now, once again, that roadshow has started and we are once again at another vantage point of that roadshow. And we can expect in a few minutes from now that the Prime Minister will be arriving here as well. This is one of the very famous parts of Ahmedabad. In fact, the symbol, the iconic part of Ahmedabad, which is the Siddi Sayyed ki Jali, in front of which the house of MG as well is there. And we have seen that a throng of people, supporters, in fact, have also come here and they're waiting in the parts of this particular area of Ahmedabad, where we see that here is where the route of the Prime Minister is going to be passing by. And of course, we have seen yesterday as well that the mega roadshow that had been organized with 35 vantage points and almost all of the constituencies of Ahmedabad, in fact, that had also been covered yesterday. And we had seen how the kind of people, in fact, that had also gathered there yesterday, and today is no different. We see in the second last day of campaigning for the second phase of polling that is underway by the BJP, and the heavy lifting that we have seen Prime Minister do, because even today he had 4 rallies that he had also addressed in the north Gujarat, especially in Patan. And right now as well, we are being told that apart from this roadshow, he's going to be ending his day of campaigning at another point of a rally that will be organized in Ahmedabad as well. In Saraspur is where the last rally of the Ahmedabad leg of campaigning for the Prime Minister will be organized as well. We have seen through the time of the campaigning, we have seen through the time of the rallies that have been organized, much like these ones, much like this kind of a roadshow that we had seen even yesterday, the kind of campaigning that the Prime Minister has been doing, the kind of reception, in fact, that he has also been getting from the people of Ahmedabad, from the people of Gujarat. And now we see the similar pictures of the Prime Minister passing by from some of the very important and key areas of Ahmedabad, especially starting from the airport. In fact, he had just arrived in Ahmedabad, and of course he had went to the circuit house in Ahmedabad as well, and then passing by from there, he is going to be covering several parts of Shahi Bagh, and which is also near the eastern parts of the city as well. Apart from that, the Delhi Darwaza, which is once again a very iconic place in Ahmedabad, and once again, of course, passing by a Lucky restaurant that is also a place of a very popular joint, in fact, where people gather as well for and we see that apart from the Lucky restaurant, he will be passing by from this particular vantage point, from the Siddi Sayyed ki Jali, where we are standing right now, and then he will be going towards the Bhadrakali Mandir as well, and he will be paying, in fact, he will be doing his puja there as well. And of course, post which we will see that from the Bhadrakali Mandir, he will be going towards the venue of the rally. But we do see that the people, in fact, who have already gathered here. And let us also mention that some parts of the city that is of Ahmedabad, these parts of the city that are being covered right now are most of the places where the demography is also the minority community that is more in population, and we have seen the kind of the homework that the BJP had also done as far as these particular areas of Ahmedabad is concerned, and how much vote share that will they also be able to garner is something that the BJP had been talking about. But the Prime Minister getting the kind of response that he does, even in yesterday's roadshow was the same, and we see the similar pictures today as well in eastern parts of Ahmedabad, where we do see that the majority of the people have come out to greet meet the Prime Minister, to get a glimpse of the Prime Minister as well. To also take a step back and talk about the entire campaigning that has been going on by the BJP, and through the entire campaigning we have seen the Prime Minister carrying out most of the heavy lifting, then be it the campaigning for the first phase of the elections as well. We had seen major road shows that had been organized in Surat as well, and we had also seen in Surat where the Prime Minister in the last few hours had also carried out a major road show, the kind of response that he had gotten. And of course, the first phase of polling has already passed us by yesterday. And yesterday itself, we had seen how even in the constituencies going into polling in the second phase, that is in Ahmedabad and Gandhinagar, there was a road show that had been organized. And apart from that, we have been seeing marathon rallies of the Prime Minister being organized in Gujarat. In the last 1 month, we have seen major of the rallies that were organized in south of Gujarat, in north Gujarat, specifically in the constituencies that were going into polling in the first phase of elections. And of course, now we are seeing him also carrying out these kind of road shows in the second phase of elections as well. And the kind of narrative that is being set by the BJP is also something to be looked at, since even today, if we look at the Prime Minister's rallies and the kind of speeches that he has said, he has made in those rallies, talking about some of the policy decisions of the government of Gujarat and also the policy decisions of the Prime Minister during his tenure as the Chief Minister as well, recalling those decisions, reminding the people of Gujarat that he is somebody who is one of them. And time again, the kind of tone that we see of the Prime Minister in these rallies is that of reminding the people, reminding the BJP cadre, reminding the booth level worker, each and every booth level worker, that he is not the Prime Minister here in Gujarat, he is their Narendra Bhai. And this is something that he has said in majority of the rallies that he has addressed in Gujarat, then be it South Gujarat, Saurashtra, Kutch region that has already gone into voting, or then be it the second phase of elections in which the constituencies will go into polling, then including North Gujarat, including Central Gujarat, including Himmatnagar, Patan, and all of these places where since yesterday we have been seeing the same tune of the Prime Minister talking to the booth level worker and imploring them to go door to door campaigning and seek blessings from the elders, seek blessings from the people of Gujarat. For the people of Gujarat, who he is not a Prime Minister, he is somebody in fact who is their own Narendra Bhai, is something that he has tried to remind the people of Gujarat, remind the cadre of the BJP in Gujarat as well. And we have seen the kind of push that he has made as far as the voter turnout is also concerned, because we do see that from the time of his rallies that were being organized in the first phase of elections, he has been imploring the people to go out and vote. And he had also been making a direct addressal to the first time voters and had been speaking to them about the kind of time that they have not seen in Gujarat. He has been reminding them about the law and order situation. He has been reminding them about the riot situation. He has been reminding them about the lack of development that was, in fact, the development that had been impeded upon by the then UPA government there in the centre when he was the Chief Minister till the time of 2014 when he was serving as the Chief Minister in the state of Gujarat. And time again, even especially today when he was in North Gujarat, specifically in constituencies that go into polling on 5th December, then be it Patan, Himmatnagar, where he has, and also Mehsana, where he has time and time again talked about the water crisis and then has reminded them about the Sujlam Suflam Yojana. And many such examples, in fact, come to mind when we talk about the kind of rally and the kind of narrative that the Prime Minister had been setting as far as this campaign is also concerned. And we do see some movement. So what we are expecting is, where we are right now, we can expect that the Prime Minister will be arriving here, and we will try to get in a word from several of the people, in fact, who are standing here waiting for the Prime Minister. What we do see different from yesterday's roadshow is that these are not really BJP cadre. This is not the booth level worker who's here waiting for the Prime Minister. These are common people, the common man, in fact, who are here along the entire route of the roadshow, where they are waiting to get a glimpse of the Prime Minister. Of course, we do see some of the BJP cadre as well who is standing here waiting for the Prime Minister to get here. And of course, we see the kind of reception that the Prime Minister is also getting in these road shows. The 2 days consecutively we see this road show that was organized by the Prime Minister, and of course he has been trying to reiterate the point that he is one of them. He is the son of the soil, reminding the people that he is their Narendra Bhai first, meaning to say that he is a Gujarati first, and he's somebody who's worked for the people of Gujarat, and not just the Prime Minister, that's what he says in several of his rallies. And along these lines, in fact, along this entire line, through this entire iconic location of Siddhi Sayyed Ki Jali, which has the logo of Ahmedabad as well. And we see that this is the kind of reception that people are really giving them. So to speak, we are seeing that this is in fact the heart of the city, in the eastern parts of the city, where we have seen that the BJP had also in the past had concerns about their own performances as far as elections are concerned, and we see that this is why it's important, the kind of roadshow that we are seeing today by the Prime Minister, where he will be meeting and greeting with the local level cadres, and not just the cadre but the supporters of the BJP, the supporter of the Prime Minister as well, speaking to them, waving at them, and also being greeted by them as well. As far as him coming back to these particular areas, these particular constituencies of Ahmedabad is concerned, as we see in the last few hours of campaigning that is being carried out by the Prime Minister. Back to you in the studios.
All right, Priyanka, we were in fact looking at those, two different images on our screens. One is obviously the Prime Minister. This is the second leg of his roadshow in Ahmedabad. And even the Union Home Minister Amit Shah, remember, right now is in Vadodara, and he is also right now in the middle of a massive roadshow. So, Priyanka, it's important again and again to reiterate that any election is also a perception battle. And, more so for a party that's been in the state for 27 long years, to be able to draw such amount of crowds, this energy of the Prime Minister, that no doubt is unmatched, that he's been continuously on the ground, he's been interacting with people. What does that say, Priyanka?
Well, that's exactly right, Deepti. As I was mentioning, through the day, if we look at the itinerary of the Prime Minister, we get to see that there are at least 4 rallies that he's addressing. Even today, we're just talking about today, and we have seen him making rounds in North Gujarat. He was earlier in Patan and has spoken about some of the things that I had been talking about in terms of reminding the people of Gujarat that he is one of them, that he is a son of the soil, and that he is somebody who has worked diligently as their Chief Minister, and he's been trying to send across that message across the rallies that we have seen to the run-up to the first phase of voting as well. Deepti, if we look at some of the rallies, we get to see the kind of pattern and the kind of narrative that we see, which is formed with respect to the Prime Minister's rallies. We'll also keep panning our cameras because we are at one of the vantage points of the rallies, the roadshow, where in fact the Prime Minister will be passing by, and we will try to get in a word from people in fact who are gathered here. We can see that they are waiting for the Prime Minister and to get a glimpse of the Prime Minister as well. Let's get in a word from some of them because we see them in fact waiting here since quite some time. Let's get in a word from them as to what are they really thinking about this entire campaigning, the entire elections. In fact, this is the security route that has already been set for the entire roadshow. And we will get in a word. In fact, very interestingly, Deepti, we do have this very iconic place in Ahmedabad, and we see that the House of MG as well. This is the place where, in fact, the Prime Minister has greeted and met with several of the international dignitaries. We have seen that the Japan Prime Minister as well, Shinzo Abe as well, that had come here. He had met and had a dinner with the Prime Minister here in this place. This is the House of MG, and that is the place where, in fact, we see most of the international dignitaries that the Prime Minister greets and meets and dines with is usually here. Let's get in a word from several of the people who have gathered here. In fact, we do have some of the prominent faces here as well, and we are seeing that they are also waiting to greet the Prime Minister. Sir, we see that a lot of the staff of House of MG as well out there, a lot of customers as well that have come out specially to get a glimpse of the Prime Minister. What are you making of this entire campaign? What are you making of the kind of response that we see on the ground?
I think we should now focus on him because he should be arriving soon, But I think it's great, and it's a wonderful thing that he's greeting people. I hope he takes time to.
And he is just passing by from here. In fact, we do see right now in just across from us, passing by from here, and the kind of response that he is getting from the people. And of course, he is covering majority of the constituencies of Ahmedabad in the eastern parts of Ahmedabad specifically, and going towards the Bhadrakali Mandir. In fact, now he is going to the Bhadrakali Mandir, and he will be paying his respects and carrying out a puja as well. The throng of the roadshow that we see, the kind of energy of the people, in fact, on the ground as well, Deepthi, that we get to see in these campaigning rallies, in these roadshows of the Prime Minister. In fact, people who have gathered here to get a glimpse as well. Sir, आप बताइए, आप PM के रोड शो के लिए यहाँ पे खड़े, उनको देखिए।
मोदी साहब के लिए खड़ा है।
अच्छा, पूरा उन्होंने कल भी इतना सारा रोड शो किया, इतने सारे जगह पे गए, वो किस तरह से आपको लग रहा है कि पूरा कैंपेन चल रहा है बीजेपी का, इलेक्शंस का?
बीजेपी जीतेगी, बीजेपी सरकार बनाएगी हमारी।
आप भी सपोर्टर है यहाँ पे पीएम को देखने के लिए?
हाँ, पीएम को देखने के लिए और मोदी साहब को देखने के लिए।
All right, so we do see some of the supporters here. In fact, across these two alleys, either sides of the roads, Deepthi, that the Prime Minister's cavalcade is passing by from. We see people, in fact, that have gathered here right in front of that very iconic Siddhi Sayed Jali. And we will try to make our way towards the Bhadrakali Mandir as well, because that's where the Prime Minister will be getting off, and then of course carrying out a puja as well, and then finally culminating the roadshow and going towards the rally venue, where he will address another major rally and of course perhaps speak about once again the kind of issues that we have been seeing Prime Minister raising in the various rallies that he's organized in the state, specifically in the run-up to the second phase of the elections. Because, Deepthi, we do see that according to the geography, according to the constituencies, the issues also vary. And we see that in the second phase of elections as well, we see the kind of issues that are being raised by the Prime Minister. Talking about the North Gujarat has focused on the irrigation facilities that have been provided by the BJP, the Sujalam Sufalam Yojana. He has time and time again mentioned the Narmada Canal as well. And in 2017, Narmada Canal issue, Deepthi, if we remember, had been at the epicenter of the entire controversy. Narmada Canal was something that had been mentioned by the BJP as something that was a landmark achievement for the BJP government. And not just the BJP government, but for Narendra Modi, since he was the one who had sat on that, remember, a very long hunger strike for the Narmada Canal as well. And we have now seen the issues that are being raised by the Prime Minister as far as the irrigation facilities are concerned. He has talked about them in detail in all three rallies that he's addressed today in North Gujarat. And of course, we are walking towards the Bhadrakali temple, where he will be paying his respects, and he will be meeting with the ground level cadre. He will be meeting and greeting with the supporters of BJP as well. Remember, a very important part of the city of Ahmedabad that he is passing by from, the eastern parts of the city of Ahmedabad, where we have seen that the BJP has also had several meetings to the run-up to the elections as far as campaign strategy is also concerned. And this roadshow, in fact, Deepthi, is a last-minute addition to the itinerary of the Prime Minister. Earlier, he was supposed to go directly to that rally in Ahmedabad. In fact, we see that there's some movement there. And we'll go towards where the Prime Minister is going, where he is, in fact, in the Bhadrakali temple. And the kind of number of people that have gathered here is also a telling sign of how he is being received in these parts of the city, in the eastern parts of the city as well, where we have seen that the BJP has had strategy meetings as far as the vote share and the vote percentage is also concerned in these particular areas of Ahmedabad as well. And we have also seen in the eastern parts of the city, where the majority of the Congress MLAs have also been contesting and winning from and garnering their support. And of course, the vote share, of course, counts for a very important factor as far as the campaign of the BJP is also concerned. But of course, we're right behind where the cavalcade of the PM is. He has right now just gone to the Bhadrakali temple. He will be And he has in fact reached the temple right now. He is at the Bhadrakali temple. We are getting those images for our viewers. First on Republic, as far as this mega road show is concerned, where he had started right from the circuit house. He had just arrived in Ahmedabad, and that really goes to tell us the kind of campaigning that the PM is doing. Over the past few days, Deepti, we have been noticing firsthand on the ground how the Prime Minister has been carrying out these various rallies, back-to-back rallies from morning till late night. We see that he has been addressing various rallies and talking about various issues that concerns the people of Gujarat. He has been having that personal connect, that emotional connect that he usually has with the people of Gujarat, and has spoken to them about some of the issues that concern them. As I had been talking about the time that he had addressed these rallies even yesterday in Himmatnagar, in Sabarkantha as well as Banaskantha yesterday, and we see today in Patan, in other areas as well, in Anand, in Kheda. These areas where he has talked about some of the issues that concern locally there in terms of the North Gujarat population as well, and has spoken about the issues that has been addressed by the government of Gujarat, by the Prime Minister himself. He has reiterated the times of the COVID-19 pandemic. He has reiterated the times of the vaccination drive that has been undertaken by the government of Gujarat as well. He has reminded the people of Gujarat as far as the COVID-19 pandemic era was also concerned, as far as the vaccination drive, and also has spoken about several of the health benefits that had been provided by the government of Gujarat to the people of Gujarat as well, as far as the medical bills are concerned. And very interestingly, we have seen that in all of these rallies, he has time and time again made the directly spoken. He has mentioned in his rallies and directly spoken to the booth level workers, as I was earlier mentioning. But not just that, he has directly spoken to the women voters as well. And he has time and time again talked about how the kind of health benefits that have been given to the women of a family, and he has made a very emotional speech. At least 5 of the rallies that I have been able to count over the last few days, he has mentioned this, that the women of a household suffer in silence, and that for any development to happen, the women of the household need to be empowered. He has time and time again talked about the kind of medical bills that women are concerned about, because of which they don't really speak up about the kind of issues about they might have been facing as well. And of course, we are going to still keep staying with the images of the Prime Minister going to the Bhadrakali temple. And once again, as I had been speaking about the kinds of issues that he has raised with women and with the first-time voters, with the booth-level workers, directly speaking to them, and perhaps we can expect something like that of similar lines in today's last rally in Ahmedabad as well, as we track the mega road show of the Prime Minister here on the ground in the eastern parts of Ahmedabad, passing by from areas like Shahi Bagh and then the Delhi Darwaza, and of course going to the Bhadrakali temple right now, and will be culminating the road show in perhaps 20 minutes from now. And I believe our senior executive editor Abhishek Kapoor is also with us in the studios. Abhishek, over to you, since you have also seen Gujarat very closely. You know the state, you know these areas where he's passing by. If you could also share your insight as far as these particular constituencies are concerned, and what it really means when we look at these pictures of the Prime Minister passing by from these particular areas as well.
I must say you are doing a fantastic job there, Priyanka, and Prime Minister in the pictures we can see is praying at the Bhadrakali temple, almost the presiding deity of Ahmedabad in the old city, and there is also the area which is inside the fort and next to the fort wall, in fact, and I believe the prayers are just getting over, and just goes on to show this road show today that all that Prime Minister is putting in by way of effort, by way of hard work, insofar as BJP's campaign is concerned. Remember, he's the Prime Minister of the country, and I mean, just okay, it's his home state, but the fact of the matter is that BJP is typically seen by most opinion polls as being in comfortable position, and despite that, if he's spending 4 hours on the road, covering 50 kilometers, almost all the assembly segments in Ahmedabad yesterday, and following it up with another road show, almost similar, little less in strength, in length, but covering many of those old city areas, beginning with the Ahmedabad airport and then going on to those old areas, and then Saraspur and this Bhadrakali temple in Ahmedabad. And from here on, he would be moving to Saraspur, and that's a little bit on the outskirts, but that in effect gives you an idea of the kind of effort he's putting in to make sure that people are mobilized, cadres are mobilized, voters are mobilized, obviously in support of his party, which is the BJP. And we have seen as a build-up to the campaign, Prime Minister increasing his visits to Gujarat, inaugurating many of those development projects, owning it up. Essentially, we have seen the campaign really centered around Narendra Modi, which it's not just about Gujarat, which happens everywhere. But the interesting bit is that we saw Prime Minister leading from the front in a state like Bengal, where it was clear that the BJP is not coming to power, taking it upon himself, the entire responsibility. And I believe that's what leaders do. They take the responsibility, the onus of success and defeat upon themselves. So in Bengal, even if the BJP was not coming to power, Prime Minister led from the front, and we are seeing that in Gujarat, where they're comfortably perhaps coming to power. In the pictures again, the prayers just getting over, and the priests finishing up, just ending the prayers, and now Prime Minister, in fact, leaving after taking the blessings from the priests. Outside in the pictures, these are people waiting on both the sides of the roads. We have seen them come out and greet the Prime Minister. By some accounts, it was about 10 lakh people yesterday, and that's a significant number. That should constitute, in those constituencies, that should constitute a substantial number of electorate, a percentage of electorate in those constituencies. We are also getting it, and also if you look at it, Prime Minister covering 50 kilometers yesterday and about 15 odd kilometers today. He's out again and back to his carcade in the car, and again he would be engaging with the masses, with the support base of the BJP, and greeting them and taking their greetings. He's someone who's loved. You've been mentioning it all along. It's a mix of the development projects that have been carried out by the BJP, in a way taken forward from where Narendra Modi, the Chief Minister, left after he became Prime Minister. The roadshow has begun again. And one would say, as a political observer, maybe this overdoing that we are seeing by way of roadshows, by way of Prime Ministers, non-stop rallies, 4 or 5 rallies a day, this could also be because there is this thought that nobody could have filled the big shoes of Narendra Modi in the state. We have seen 3 chief ministers after Modi left Gujarat, between Anandiben Patel, Vijay Rupani, and now Bhupendra Patel. Obviously, so there is this thought that people might come to believe that this is a BJP government, but this is not a Modi government, and that's the reason why Prime Minister needs to be seen. And we are seeing that getting reflected in the number of rallies, number of roadshows, and for example, I was noticing that this is the first time perhaps the Prime Minister stayed overnight in a city outside of Gandhinagar, because typically he would stay in Raj Bhavan whenever he travels. But this time he spent the night in Surat as well, a very politically significant, sensitive city, having consequences for the Saurashtra region as well, though Surat happens to be in South Gujarat. Local dynamics at play. Remember, just last year, viewers would recall how the Gujarat government was changed lock, stock and barrel, in the sense from Chief Minister downwards. The entire cabinet was replaced with a new one, and almost the entire cabinet did not have any earlier executive experience or political executive experience. On the one hand, it did cleanse the government of any anti-incumbency or perception about anti-incumbency. At the same time, it brought in relative inexperience. So obviously, the burden has to be shared between the Prime Minister and the Union Home Minister, 2 veterans from the state. And that's why perhaps we are seeing this very heavy-duty campaigning being led from the front by the Prime Minister, fully backed, of course, by Union Home Minister Amit Shah. prestige battle. So obviously, as it happens, and that's also very typical of the BJP election machinery now, that every election they take it as seriously as they would, irrespective of whether the election is winning or losing. We have seen, for example, Prime Minister traveling when or Home Minister traveling to Hyderabad when the municipal corporation elections happen there. So no election is big or small. Every election faces same hard work, same intensity, and that's what we're seeing in these pictures also, with the Prime Minister carrying out second roadshow in less than 24 hours in Ahmedabad.
Well, that's right, Abhishek. And once again, we see that he is carrying out that mega road show and passing by these very important constituencies, as you were also mentioning, in the eastern parts of the city of Ahmedabad, passing through some of the iconic places of Ahmedabad, including the House of MG, including the Siddhi Sayyid Ki Jali, including this Bhadra temple as well, where he had just passed by from, had gone in and carried out the puja, and then of course will be going towards Saraspur and carrying out the last rally, addressing the last rally in the second last day of campaigning, that is in fact going to culminate in a few hours from now. And we will see even tomorrow that majority, in fact, of the rallies that will also be organized. And we will also get in a word from some of the BJP workers. We have seen them also waiting here, working here. And of course, we have seen some of the supporters as well who had gathered here at the Bhadra temple and had been here through the route of the Prime Minister's road show, and had also, had also been waiting to get a glimpse of the Prime Minister, as well as we had seen even yesterday. And we'll try to get in a word from them, because we see that a lot of jubilant faces here, since they have just met with and seen, in fact, the Prime Minister who has passed by from here. All right, we'll get in a word from them to understand what's really been the kind of mood on the ground as far as the BJP workers are also concerned. अच्छा, आप लोग यहाँ पर वेट कर रहे थे, आप लोग कार्यकर्ता है बीजेपी के?
नरेंद्र भाई 2022 में यहाँ पे विधानसभा तो 150 प्लस जीतने के है, और ये ट्रेलर है, पिक्चर तो 2024 में है। नरेंद्र भाई थर्ड टाइम प्राइम मिनिस्टर बनने के, हर हर मोदी।
आप यहाँ पे बूथ लेवल वर्कर हैं, किस लेवल पे आप काम करते हैं बीजेपी के कार्यकर्ता?
युवा अध्यक्ष हूँ जमालपुर वार्ड का, बराबर जैसे देख रहे हैं सब युवा, हर हर मोदी, हर हर मोदी।
तो उसमें किस तरह से प्रेपरेशन हो रही है? कई सारे जो बोलते हैं कि ईस्टर्न पार्ट जो है सिटी का, वो कहीं ना कहीं बीजेपी के लिए मुश्किल होता है, तो क्या किस तरह से प्रेपरेशन हो रही है ग्राउंड पे? बीजेपी के कार्यकर्ता क्या कर रहा है?
इसलिए अभी जिस तरह का जो सिटी एरिया है, कोट विस्तार है, यहाँ मुस्लिम पॉपुलेशन ज्यादा है, पर अभी जो जिस तरह का नरेंद्र भाई का स्लोगन है, सबका साथ सबका विकास, आप डेवलपमेंट देखिए, रिवर फ्रंट देखिए, मेट्रो ट्रेन देखिए, सब कुछ, और वो लोग भी अब नरेंद्र भाई को चाहते हैं, दिल से चाहते हैं, और हम उनके बीच में जाते हैं तो वो लोग बोलते हैं हम इस बार नरेंद्र भाई को ही जिताने वाले हैं। और ये जो
और ग्राउंड पे कहते हैं कि जो त्रिकोणा इस बार इलेक्शन हो रहा है, आम आदमी पार्टी भी आ गई है, किस तरह से ग्राउंड पे आपको लग रहा है कि बूथ बूथ पे जो वो कैप्चर करने की बात कर रहे हैं, क्या वो कर पाए?
आम आदमी पार्टी का यहाँ पर 182 सीटों पे उसकी डिपॉजिट भी बचा नहीं सकने वाली,
और बाकी की सीट
बीजेपी 150 प्लस है, भारतीय जनता पार्टी।
So that really is the sentiment as far as the BJP's ground level worker is concerned, and they have been speaking about how the kind of work is being carried out on the ground as far as these particular areas are concerned, and they are in fact speaking about the kind of work that they are also doing in the run up to the elections. And of course we will see the kind of reaction that we are seeing on the ground as far as the workers, and not just the workers, the supporters in fact that have come here to see and get a glimpse of the Prime Minister. We see more of the BJP workers here who had been gathered, because this is of course the Bhadra temple where the Prime Minister had gone on inside and carried out those puja, that ritual. And but we also see the kind of work on the ground that is being carried out. This time, Deepthi, Abhishek, we will have to see the kind of work that is being done on the ground as far as the booth level workers are concerned, as far as the ground level cadre of the BJP is concerned. And important to note that these is This is the cadre that the Prime Minister had been addressing directly, speaking to them in that minute level management as well, speaking to them about each and every booth and talking about getting 100% voter turnout, A, to begin with, and B, of course, to work on each and every booth for garnering support for the BJP as well. And this is the kind of work that he has directly been speaking about in those mega rallies this time around that we have seen that the Prime Minister addressed. Specifically, even in the last 48 hours, as we saw at least 8 of the rallies that the Prime Minister had addressed, had spoken about these entire issues. Even yesterday, we had seen those things being talked about by the Prime Minister, addressing the booth level workers, addressing the ground level cadre of the BJP, and imploring upon them to go on and carry out their work diligently, because this is something that he has said, that this is the cadre of the ground level, this is the cadre of the ground level party that makes a candidate win or lose, makes or break a candidate. That is the kind of ideology that we have seen that the BJP has been operating about. As far as each and every election that we see that is carried out in the state of Gujarat, then be it the 2017 elections, which was of course the more crucial part, the more crucial election, we had seen there was a level of anti-incumbency that the BJP had been facing the last time because of the Patidar agitation, because of the first election being the one carried out in the state when the Prime Minister was in Delhi. He was not the serving Chief Minister of the state. But we have seen that even in last election and even in this elections, even as the Prime Minister has gone to Delhi, he has been talking about how this is the people of Gujarat who have sent him to Delhi, and that even though he's sitting in Delhi, he has not forgotten the people of Gujarat. And that is the kind of connect that we see that the Prime Minister trying to create with the people of Gujarat, with the cadre of the party on the ground as well. And yet again, today as well, we can expect similar lines in the Ahmedabad rally as well. Now, apart from that, this time, as I was mentioning, as compared to the 2017 elections, the kind of anti-incumbency that the BJP had been facing had also been pacified because of the kind of government change we have seen. The serving Chief Minister Vijay Devarakonda had also stepped down, making way for Bhupendra Patel. The kind of government of Gujarat 2.0 that had been made last year, and since then Bhupendra Patel has been the Chief Minister. The kind of anti-incumbency that the BJP had been facing or had been stating that they are seeing on the ground at least had also been pacified. So that another issue that the BJP feels is not going to be a factor that is going to work against them as well. So all of those things taken into consideration and then looking at them vis-a-vis in terms of the kind of speeches that the Prime Minister is also giving goes to show us a little bit, gets us a glimpse into the kind of strategy and the game plan of the BJP at least for the elections. And we of course are on the ground tracking each and every rally, each and every development as far as elections are concerned. And it is day 2 of the roadshow that is being organized by the Prime Minister in Ahmedabad and in Gandhinagar. All right, and of course we are staying with those images of the Prime Minister, and we are staying with those images of the roadshow that is being organized by the Prime Minister. He had just left from the Bhadra temple and had met with the ground level cadre as well, and he had spoken to the people of Ahmedabad, the people of Gandhinagar and the people of North Gujarat through the day. We had seen at least 3 of the rallies that were organized by the Prime Minister, addressed by the Prime Minister. And the 4th one, the last rally for the day, that is all set to be carried out in Saraspur. In Saraspur, where the last rally will also be organized, will be interesting to see. Abhishek, if you can get me, it'll be interesting to see the kind of issues that the Prime Minister also raises in the last rally, that is Saraspur, that he will be addressing. And of course, post with this rally, we will only have 24 hours more that we will get to see the BJP's campaign, the kind of campaign from all political parties as well. And of course, the second phase of voting that will take place on December the 5th, Abhishek.
Well, yes, so this is what is called pinch hitting in cricket parlance. Prime Minister is doing. In fact, we have seen a roadshow happening by Union Home Minister Amit Shah also earlier in the day in Ahmedabad, and Prime Minister doing it now, and the BJP has really put in all. We have seen the senior most of ministers and the leaders of the party campaigning. And for example, in the case of Rajnath Singh, India's defense minister, he is number 2 in the cabinet, and yet he was seen campaigning door to door. And similarly, we have seen JP Nadda the party president. Now, what is interesting is, as a political observer, that with all these events, road shows, press conferences, rallies, is the BJP working on a strategy to really crowd out the opposition from media space, and very successfully so, because we have not seen any events which can be covered similarly for the Congress party. Where are the Congress leaders whom we can cover in a road show, during a rally? I mean, apart from a very customary kind of presence that was shown by Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge, or absolutely symbolic one-day visit to Gujarat by Rahul Gandhi from coming out of his Bharat Jodo Yatra, which is as of now moving somewhere in Madhya Pradesh, completely skirting an election state like Gujarat or even Himachal. So I think in that sense, what we see is BJP really capitalizing on its leaders, its political assets, going down to the grassroots, engaging with the people. The reverse also needs to be looked at, as I was mentioning earlier, and which is that whether the BJP has some jitters, and this extra hard work, extra effort being put in by all levels of the leadership is because they're a little concerned about the situation on the ground, and some reflection of which came in the first phase of polling, where the average voter turnout was about 4 to 6% less than the last time. And remember, in the first phase of polling, while the South Gujarat region helped the BJP in Saurashtra, it had really struggled. And if on the back of it, the numbers, the polling percentages go down, and if it is believed that because BJP has committed cadres, and apart from that, there are concerns about motivation levels, then you connect the dots. So whether this hard work is because the cadres are not coming out, or there is a sense of boredom, there is a sense of ennui, there is this thought in the back of the mind of cadres that, oh, there is no opposition, so the party would anyway win, and that's why they are not coming out. That's something for the BJP top leadership to address after reasonably looking at the issue to understand what might have actually happened, whether there is a connection between the lower than expected turnout in Gujarat. Typically, this does not happen. In fact, in assembly elections, Gujarat percentage of vote share, like it happens in any other state, the percentage polling in assembly elections, state elections, typically is a tad higher than the national elections, the general elections to the parliament. And if despite that, in case of Gujarat, in the first phase at least, the numbers have come down, the voting percentages, then one is left wondering why this is happening. And could one reason be that the cadres are not mobilized enough? And if that be the case, then I'm sure there would be some element of concern with the BJP, which perhaps could be discussed, might be getting discussed, in fact, in the state level leadership, why this is happening. I mean, BJP has done whatever it wanted to do or could do, for example, by way of completely changing the cabinet, including the chief minister, infusing fresh blood and youngsters. And despite that, if situation has emerged where there is a voter ennui and people are not coming out to vote, then obviously maybe this effort is being done to supplement whatever might happen because of these fluctuating voting percentages. So having said that, as of now on the pictures on your screen, the pictures of Prime Minister carrying out his roadshow, he must be very close to ending his roadshow. If he has already crossed the Bhat Kali temple, where he stopped by to pray to Goddess Kali, which is also the presiding deity of Ahmedabad. But there are concerns that why the party needs so much of hard work. I mean, it does not take away from the fact that a typical response from the BJP leaders would be that this is how they work, this is how they make sure that every campaign is turned into a prestige battle. Every campaign is turned into an opportunity to work hard. And remember, as BJP's former President and now Union Home Minister Amit Shah is very fond of saying that they start working hard. In fact, that's the philosophy of the party. I have seen JP Nada, for example, incumbent president, talk about that also, which is that they start preparing for an election or working in a campaign mode even from the day the results are out. So, for example, we have already seen in between the Gujarat campaign, BJP President JP Nada traveled to Rajasthan and kickstart the campaign with a yatra, even as Rajasthan election is at least a year plus away, and at least a year away towards the end of next year. So I think even as Rahul Gandhi, we have seen of the Congress party failing to provide any direction to the Congress's campaign in Gujarat. We are seeing, despite being in comfortable position, the BJP really campaigning hard. Some of which could be because the trifurcation of votes that's happening this time against an essentially bipolar politics that Gujarat practices. What we are seeing is the entry of Aam Aadmi Party. So whether the BJP believes that it's important that the Aam Aadmi Party does not gain roots, and that's why just to make sure that the focus remains entirely on a very hard campaigning BJP and missing in action Congress party, then let's do that. So in a way, politically speaking, this is an attempt at polarizing the electorate between what constitutes polarizing the electorate between the BJP and which is working hard, and missing in action Congress party, so that Aam Aadmi Party is not there and is in a position to take advantage of existing electoral patterns in the state, where it's likely that if those disenchanted with the Congress party do not see any hope in the Congress party getting any numbers, they might switch to the Aam Aadmi Party, example of which has been seen both in the Surat Municipal Corporation elections and also the Gandhinagar Municipal Corporation election. In fact, the BJP was a direct beneficiary of the split of votes between the Congress and the BJP, the Congress and the Aam Aadmi Party in Gandhinagar Municipal Corporation, and similarly in the Surat Municipal Corporation, where the Aam Aadmi Party scavenging on the Congress Party made BJP increase its numbers both in terms of voting share and seats in leaps and bounds. That's significant, and I believe we are coming to. I think Prime Minister should be reaching Saraspur in just a bit, and he continues to take greetings.